Meeting is being recorded.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. This is November 2nd. It is 6:33 p.m. This is the Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council. I'm Linda Gravani, the Neighborhood Council President, and I'd like to welcome everyone and welcome our stakeholders. Thank you very much for your attendance, and we appreciate your comments. Somebody needs to mute.
Ms. Stein, won't you mute? There we go.
Okay, that's a lot better, but I don't know who was getting the echo. But anyway, I'm Linda Gravani. I'm the president of your neighborhood council, and I'd like to welcome everyone. Chat is disconnected. If you wish to speak to the board or speak on a topic, you do need to raise your hand so that we can recognize you.
Linda, there's still an echo.
Yes, I know, and I don't know who it is.
Could it be Officer Terrazas?
It might be. I'm trying to fix it.
Well, you've got our attention. Okay, LA City Charter Section 900. The purpose of neighborhood councils is to promote more citizen participation in government and make government more responsive to local needs. We are a department within the city of Los Angeles. I'm going to mute you. We are a department within the city of Los Angeles. We're required to follow city and state laws. The Brown Act does not allow us to discuss anything that's not on tonight's agenda. There is an item called public comment where you can address items not on the agenda. The president will identify the suggested times for each item, so the meeting will end around 9:30 p.m. Timekeeper tonight is James Brown. Thank you so much, James. Number 2, Pledge of Allegiance. James, sorry.
Would everyone who's able please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Do you have your flag, Danica? No, we don't have a flag, so we'll make believe.
Okay, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Ruth. Okay, number 3, can we have roll call, please, Danica?
Yes, all board members, please unmute yourself. James Brown,
Here.
Michael Cortez,
Here.
Ruth Doxey,
Here.
Jasmine Garcia,
Here.
Linda Gravani,
Here.
Lydia Gerasimovich is absent, Gary Kay,
Here.
Danica Middleton is here, Jared Negron,
Here.
Alan Nelson is absent, Carol Newman,
Here.
Jeremy Pisanik is absent, Tom Raleigh's no longer on, Linda Schwerin
Here.
and Jim Stein.
Here.
$11 present, we have quorum.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Number 4, poll board members for completion of mandatory training. Alan has not completed and Lydia has not either. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Appreciate it. A discussion of possible action to adopt the November 3, 2022 agenda.
I move to
I
adopt.
move we adopt the November 2nd, 2022 agenda.
Okay,
I'll
James
second.
Brown. Ruth, you got a second?
Yeah.
Thank you. Any discussion? Gary?
Two minor corrections. One is item 7, California Assembly Member Adrien Nazarian's field deputy. Just a carryover of something that was brought up at the past meeting, but is no longer Sophia. And secondly, on the very last page, and James Brown could speak to it better than I, but I believe that the health and public safety meetings are no longer the third Wednesday of the month. I think they're quarterly. That's all. Thank you.
James, are your meetings quarterly?
Yes.
And that was effective when?
That was effective beginning with the October meeting.
Can you tell me what item number this is?
It's on the last page where all the committees are listed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, with those corrections, let's take a vote.
James Brown,
Yes, with corrections.
Michael Cortez,
Yes.
Ruth Doxey,
Yes.
Jasmine Garcia,
Yes.
Linda Gravani,
Yes.
Lydia Drossomich is not here. Gary Kay,
Yes.
Danica Middleton is a yes. Jared Negron,
Yes.
Alan Nelson not here. Carol Newman,
Yes.
Jeremy Pisanik. Oh, he's not here. Sorry. I forgot to cross him out. Sorry. Linda Schwerin
Yes.
and Jim Stein.
Yes.
11 yeses, motion passes.
Thank you. Number-
Hey, Linda Gravani, who made the motion and who seconded it? Sorry, I didn't write it down.
I made the motion.
James Brown and Ruth.
Thank you.
Number 6, poll board to determine if any board member has a conflict of interest on any item. Would you please look over the agenda, and if you have a conflict, please let me know. Danica?
I had, well, I have a vested interest in, what item number is it? The holiday parade item number, so I will recuse myself from the vote. It is item number 22.
Okay, since you need to recuse yourself, I'd like to move that item to number 25. Because
Okay.
you are the secretary and I would like you to continue to take minutes.
Sure,
If you don't mind.
not at all.
When we get to it. So we'll just leave it as is for right now. Linda Schwerin?
Oh, yes. Am I unmuted? I hope so. We have received our monthly report from the city. With regard to our-
Linda, do you need to recuse yourself on anything?
No, I thought that you were discussing,
If you have a conflict of interest on any item that's on the agenda.
no, it's not a conflict of interest. It has to do with qualifications to vote. Did I miss? I'm sorry. Am I late?
You're on item number 6. Do you have the agenda in front of you?
Yes, I do.
That's item number 6.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I missed it. It was on number 4, polling board members.
Okay. Daniel Johnson?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to confirm if Danica reached out to the city attorney's office in regards to the conflict of interest.
No, I just figured that since I'm the one that puts on the holiday parade. No, I did not reach out to the city attorney.
Thank you very much for that confirmation. As always, the recommendation would be to table the item. Thank you.
I'm fine
So
with that.
here again, it makes it extremely difficult to accomplish anything. To me, the conflict of interest is if you've got real estate and we're going to be selling real estate. It's not that there's going to be a parade and you need funding for it, that you need to contact the city attorney. I personally think it's not a good rule.
Because in
So
the
what-
past, I haven't had to contact the city attorney.
Today is a new day. So I don't know what to do.
So shall we table this item till December?
Yes, I think we'll have to.
Okay,
And in the meantime, Danica, you can reach out.
I will.
Thank you. And Jared?
I don't want to throw a roadblock into the agenda either, but as a newer member who would be, I guess, receiving a polo and things of those natures, do I need to say
No.
conflict of interest or recuse on those items?
No, no.
Okay, that's all.
No, we're not giving you money. No matter what Santa said. Okay, good enough. Thank you very much. Number 7, announcements and reports. We've got LAPD. We now have a new senior lead officer. James, would you like to do the honors for us, please?
Sure, it'd be my pleasure. Hello, everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity. You already know, but for those that don't, after more than 2.5 years, due to COVID, budget deficit reductions, staff reductions, and the like, Lake Balboa finally has a new senior lead officer, Officer Michael Terrazas, who's with us tonight. So I'd like to take this opportunity to officially introduce Officer Terrazas to the Lake Balboa community and say welcome, Officer Terrazas. Mike, you're on. You can unmute. 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 Can you unmute him, Linda?
I'm asking him to unmute, but I can't unmute him.
Did it-
Okay, there you go. Thanks, Mike.
Okay. Sorry about that. This is my first time on Zoom, so I'm learning as we go here. I'm Mike Terrazas. I've been with LAPD for 25 years. I've been in West Valley for 23 years. I just got the senior lead spot 2 weeks ago, so I'm still kind of getting my feet wet and everything. But I'm looking forward to working with everybody. And I guess I should say, is there any questions, or can I answer anything right off the top?
Well, Michael, if you don't mind, the community already knows about the Tea with the Cop that's coming Saturday, which would be a perfect opportunity to speak directly to you about these issues. I know Gary Kay is probably loading up, but I think that would be a better time than taking him now. But you might want to put your email address.
It's on the agenda.
Right. And your phone number is on the agenda as well.
Okay.
Steve Leffert. Steve, you're having a
Let's try that. Is that better?
yeah, much better. Thank you.
Every month. We used to have 2 senior lead officers and they were split with what areas they were covering. Is that still the case? And if so, what part are you covering, Mike?
Yes, that's still the case. I cover the West Lake Balboa area, so I'm going to cover from White Oak more or less to Havenhurst-ish. Officer Park is still working his normal area. He's covering the east part of Lake Balboa and mostly Van Nuys from Havenhurst to the 405 freeway. So I'll be covering roughly from Roscoe Boulevard on the north, all the way down to Burbank. So my area encompasses the Sepulveda Basin, and then from White Oak east to part of Balboa and cutting over to part of Havenhurst.
Okay. All right. So I'm in the west side of Van Nuys Airport, so I would be in your area.
Are you below Sherman Way?
I am north of Sherman Way.
So
So
you're in Officer Park's area.
Officer Park.
Okay. Zigzag lines going crazy. All right, thank you.
There is a map that we can post on the website. I'll make sure that happens.
May I share the screen and show the map?
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you.
thank you, Ruth.
Sure.
So as you can see in the top right, Steve, Officer Park's area, we call it Lake Balboa, but the LAPD calls it still part of Van Nuys. So Officer Park's area is car 10A39 versus Officer Terrazas, who has the majority of Lake Balboa in basic car area 10A17.
Okay, got it.
Actually, I do believe that is the Van Nuys area officially, because Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the commercial area of Lake Balboa, and the citizens at the time did not want the commercial area in Lake Balboa. Even though it's the neighborhood council's area, it's still considered Van Nuys. Is that-
The part of it north of Satakoy, and of course, the airport itself. So.
Does it go down to Sherman Way?
It is not, well, it follows, shoot, I'm blanking on the name of the street that the Airtel's on.
Valjean?
Algene. So from Satakoy, following Satakoy across to Valjean and then south, that's the part, only that part, northern part, north of Satakoy is technically still Van Nuys. But it's in our Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council area.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ruth.
Glenn Bailey?
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Welcome and congratulations, Officer. I am stepping a little bit out on a limb here, but over the past 2 decades plus, the Sepulveda Basin Wildlife Area Steering Committee has had a close working relationship with the senior lead officer whose assignment includes the Sepulveda Basin. So I just wanted to, even though I'm not the chair, I just wanted to let you know that, and to let you know that the committee meets every other month on the 4th Tuesday of the month, 6:30 p.m. currently virtually. So the next meeting will be November 22nd, 6:30 p.m. And I think it'd be great for the folks who are on that committee. They include representatives of the various stakeholder groups that are interested in what's going on in the Sepulveda Basin, specifically the natural areas. And there's a lot of issues dealing with public safety. So just want to let you be aware of that. And I will ask the chairperson to send you an agenda. But just want to let you know that we would love to have you meet the group, if not at the next meeting, at a future meeting as soon as you're available. Thank you.
yeah, if you could email me, that would be great.
Will do. I have noted your email.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's move on over to LA Fire. Woohoo! Battalion Chief Tim Lambert, welcome.
Thank you very much. And like I said before, a lot of you came on. I just wanted to, I've only been in the Valley for about 6 months now. I've been a battalion chief since May, and I got assigned to Battalion 10, which encompasses your neighborhood council area. I'm stationed at Fire Station 39, which is near Van Nuys and Oxnard, but your area is definitely in my area. So I just wanted to introduce myself and give the contact number for our office is area code 818-756-8610. I can also put that in the comments if it's easier. Just a couple things. I'll keep it pretty short. We just came out of October, and that was Earthquake Preparedness Month. We had the great shakeout on October 20th. So just kind of focusing on earthquake safety for any of you that missed it and that were looking for more information, you can go to shakeout.org. And they got some really good, they have some really good resources on there for protecting your family, businesses, etc. in case of an earthquake. I'm definitely interested, Glenn, definitely interested in hearing more about that meeting on the 22nd, I believe you said. If I could get, I'll leave my email in the comments. Maybe you could email me on that too. Just representing myself and my colleague, Brian Petty. There's 3 of us here normally. Right now, there's only 2 of us. So if any of us can be of any service to you, please let us know, and happy to be here. Thank you. End of report.
Thank you. Welcome. Welcome both of you to our team. We appreciate you very much. And if we can do something for you, let us know. We'll try to, move our community forward. Thank you. Next, let's see, who else?
I just wanted to say one more thing. Thank you
Oh, sure.
for continuing to support the LAFD and our Fire Station 100. As you guys know, it's at Louise and Van Owen. We all appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Chief Lambert, can you say your email since our chat is disabled?
Yes, it is Timothy.Lambert, Lambert, @lacity.org.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Perfect. Thank you. I'll add it to our agenda for next month, so we have it. I like to have all the phone contacts on the agenda so it's easy for people to find. I'm just looking to see of our officials, if you could help me out, James. Here's Vienna. Hi, Vienna. I've got something blocking my... Can you move Vienna over?
Her hand is up. I can't move her, Linda. You didn't make me co-chair.
Yeah, I did.
Hey.
Hello, good evening,
There
everybody.
you go, finally. Wahoo! A little glitch.
Awesome. I am Viana. My name is Viana Blah. It's been a heavy month, I'm sure, as many of you can imagine. I'm still the Lake Balboa Field Deputy with Council District 6, for the time being at least. And I'm sure, as many of you know, the former council president has resigned from her seat in the last month. That being said, Council District staff is still here to connect residents to resources and advocate as much as possible for your neighborhoods. Currently, our office is being overseen by a caretaker from the Chief Legislative Analyst's office during this transitional period. The council has already proposed and is anticipating an April special election. Regardless, as said before, we're still here. We're public servants, ready to show up every day and work on your behalf. On a personal note, as some of you may know, I had a vacation last month, so I've also been away from most of the events of October. I'm slowly coming back and have received many, many emails, and I'm still catching up day by day. So if there is anything that you have, including questions, concerns, anything in the meantime, I'd love to hear it. And we are definitely still here for you. And just so you know, the board and Jim Stein especially, I have submitted the new special event permit for the grand reopening event on December 3rd. So that is submitted, and I know there's a quick turnaround, so we'll be sure to be on that.
Thank you, Viana.
Thank you. Thank you. If we can help you also, Viana, let us know, okay?
Thank you. And I think I see some hands.
Yeah, hi, Vienna. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that Jonah Glickman had been promoted to district director.
Oh my goodness, has that, wow, okay. That hasn't been announced here yet too. I'm surprised. Yes, Jonah Glickman had his previous title, which dealt more with homeless services, but he is, yes, our office's district director, continues to serve in that role. So he's an excellent resource. You're still welcome to reach out to him, of course, as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Danica?
Hi, Viana. I was just wondering if by chance, I know you just got back from vacation, but if there's any update on our Welcome to Lake Balboa sign.
So the very last thing that I have seen on our thread with the Bureau of Street Services crew, I'm sure as you know, the tree installations have been properly installed. But as for the actual sign, we're still expecting a date. I think they're just scheduling the ground crews to complete that work right now. So once I have a date, I will definitely pass that right along to you.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
And Christy?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Hi, this is Christy Adair. I'm also with LAFD. I'm the CERT Valley Bureau Coordinator. And I wanted to let you know that if the Neighborhood Council is interested in hosting a CERT class, the spots are going very quickly. We have 8 instructors, and I know we haven't had a class in Lake Balboa in a while. So I just wanted to let you know that if the Neighborhood Council is interested in having a CERT class in Lake Balboa, we need a location and a minimum of about 25 people, which, you know, I can help you get out the word. We usually meet 7 days a week. The most popular times are in the evenings. So if you have a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I would just love for you to have a class. We had one in Van Nuys, we had one in Sherman Oaks, we had one in Encino, and I'd really like to get that out to you. But if you're interested, you can get me at LAFDCertValley@gmail.com, or you can go to the—
Wait 1 second, LAFD Cert Valley.
My email is LAFDCertValley@gmail.com. Or
okay.
Our main CERT website is cert-la.com. There's a big button that says if you want to host a class.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we had a very, very, very active chair of our emergency preparedness committee, and the gal that took over resigned from the neighborhood council. So we've got actually 2 hands tied behind our back, but we shall work on that.
Well, I'm actually sticking around for agenda item number 8 to speak at that point about the committee.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, hold on a second. Jared has his hand raised.
Hey, just a quick question for Viana. Welcome back. Been getting a lot of questions from the residents around me on Montgomery and the nearby streets about the paving on Victory and when there's going to be lines painted on there. And then on the lack of paving on Montgomery, and if there's any update on when that's going to happen. So just wondering if there's any information you might have that I can pass along.
So I know with Montgomery specifically on your stretch, we were able to add that to the Bureau of Street Services priority list. And I'd love to reach out on another email, but I believe you are actually scheduled for the fiscal year 23-24 to have your street resurfaced. As for the lines on Victory, I will have to reach out separately about that, but that is definitely a great question.
Thank you. James Brown. Thanks. And then Danica.
Right. I'd just like to announce that CERT training class will be held at West Valley LAPD during the month of January. We are confirmed. LAFD will be conducting the classes on a Thursday. The official notification and the dates will be announced very soon. But West Valley LAPD will be hosting CERT training classes during the month of January.
Thank you. I think we've got everyone. I do not see any other field rep. Oh, Brenda, sorry. I saw you and then I forgot about you. I apologize.
No
Sorry
worries.
about that.
No worries, Linda. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brenda Yanez. I am the Field Deputy for Supervisor Sheila Keel. I'll just go over a couple of events that we have coming up this week and throughout the rest of this month. So tomorrow, Thursday, November 3rd, we will be hosting a community farmers market and resource fair at the Family Support Center in Van Nuys from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We will have a variety of resources available, children activities, music, fresh foods for folks to purchase, and a lot more. If you are able to make it, I will go ahead and see you there. Our team will be there hosting a booth and welcoming our constituents to the event. Aside from that particular event, our office in partnership with the Department of Public Health, 986 Pharmacy, Valley Care Community Consortium, and other community organizations will be hosting a vaccine clinic and resource fair on Saturday, November 19th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Pacoima City Hall. I will be sharing that flyer as soon as it is finalized so that you can go ahead and share with your network, and anybody who's interested in attending can definitely go ahead and do so. We will have COVID-19 vaccines. We'll have the monkeypox vaccine available for those who are eligible, and we will also have flu shots available for those who are interested. Valley Care Community Consortium will be giving away $25 gift cards to the first 100 people who receive their COVID-19 vaccine the day of the event. Aside from those two, LA County will be hosting 2 open houses this month to further discuss the re-envisioning process of the Whiteman Airport. We will be having the first open house on Thursday, November 17th from 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at Pacoima Charter School Auditorium. As soon as that flyer is also finalized, I'll go ahead and send it over to you so you can go ahead and share with the community. We will be having the second open house on Saturday, November 19th, just in case you're not able to attend during the week. That will be from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Whiteman Airport. And that's it for events. But I did want to go ahead and mention, I know a lot of you are already aware that Supervisor Kuehl is retiring this year, which does mean that current staff is currently in what we're calling a transitioning process. So with that being said, this will be my last meeting. I'll be joining on behalf of the supervisor. Towards the end of the year or at the beginning of next year, you will have a new representative that will be joining you all. And it's been such a pleasure working with all of you thus far. And I do want to go ahead and thank all of the board members for your hard work on the NC. And I really do hope I work with you all soon.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry we're going to be losing you, but I hope our trails meet somewhere. And if I can assist you somehow, please let me know.
Most definitely. Thank you very much, Linda. And until then, we're still here to provide you all with any county related support. So feel free to reach out to me directly if I can be of any assistance.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. All right. And I see that we've got Michael Liu, who is the neighborhood, what is your official prosecutor? Yeah, thank you. Hi, Michael. Hi.
Hello. Good evening. It's been a little while since I've been able to make a meeting, so apologize for that. I was reassigned. I don't have an event to share at this moment, but I did want to make sure that I was here and made myself available to questions and comments, either through the meeting or through my email. My email can be found on the agenda. It's my name, michael.liu@lacity.org, and I'm happy to help in any way that I can. Thank you so much.
You say
Thank
you've
you.
been reassigned to something?
Oh, temporarily, sorry. So
Oh, so
there
you're
was a-
back. You
I'm
were
back
gone
now.
and now you're back? Hooray.
Correct, yes.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, and I think we're down to Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. Ruth, did you have something you wanted to ask? Sorry.
No worries. Yes, I noticed on the agenda, Michael's name is spelled, his first name, AEL, but on Zoom here, he has an EAL. So I wonder which was the correct spelling of his first name.
I'm sure you spelled your name correctly.
No, actually, you have it right on the agenda. It's AEL. I must have a typo in my Google, so go with the agenda.
Thank you.
Yay! Thank you. Thanks, Michael. Okay, Daniel from Department of Neighborhood Empowerment.
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Michael.
I
mean, Daniel, sorry.
No problem. I know you all can't see me tonight. That is okay. Actually, I have a tie on tonight, but it's okay. I would like to first say thank you all for your hard work that you do for the Lake Balboa community and for the NC system. This is sincerely from me to you. I just wanted to say that because as we approach next month, or excuse me, as we approach the 22nd of this month, it will be my first year with the department. So thank you all for the hard work you do. Without us, there's no you all, and without you all, there's no us. So I just wanted to say that. First things first, you all are looking amazing on the trainings in regards to the empowerla.org website. I do know that there is a planning and land use section on that, and I'm not sure if you all have been meeting currently or do have a president. I do know Miguel has stepped away, and so if you all could provide that clarity for me a little later, that'll be perfect. Or I may not know who's the actual chair of the planning committee. Let's say it that way. In regards to
actually, it's an item on the agenda, not that it's necessarily going to be filled, but it is on tonight's agenda.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that, and if I could get that updated roster, please, in regards to that would be very helpful. In regards to our staffing, we have two new staff members. We have Socorro Galindo and Daniela Garcia. Socorro has a degree in legal studies from UC Berkeley, and Daniela has a degree in public policy from UCLA. And the reason why I share this with you all today is because they hit the ground running. And they've been working diligently on processing NC agendas and posting to ENS. So they will be supporting with roster updates and of course, improving our customer service. With that being said, in regards to rosters updates, as of October, in the month of October, there were 166 rosters requests. 163 of those have been processed during that month, with 3 pending. And the reason why I share that is because due to staffing limitations at the time, this work was assigned to one person, which means that the rosters was only getting updated once a month. But have no fear, we have 2 new folks. And so hopefully that will be updated more frequently than weekly, on a weekly basis. Next up, I have information regarding the EVG hybrid work group.
I don't think most people know what EVG is.
Ooh, the Empowerment Virtual Governance. So EVG oversees our virtual meetings, and yes, I will say it like that to be sure. If you would like to add, Ms. President, you can, but that's how I can sum it up with my limited time.
Well, I have a question for you because we had our special meeting in October on the 22nd, and the gal that was taking our minutes was a past president of another neighborhood council, and she said a majority of her board members do not have computers, which led me to wonder what happens if a board member such as one of ours, Lydia, and actually Alan, the computers have not been working or they do not have one. How do they complete the mandatory training in 30 days?
That is a good question. Of course, I could take that back to the department and ask to give you a more thorough and direct answer. However, I know for me, I'm your NEA and I'm willing to go the distance and share my laptop and my resources in regards to the department to get that done. However,
Okay.
yeah, I can make myself available, just put in that request and we can schedule that time.
I think maybe in the future, you might mention this to the general manager, that
Okay.
before somebody is removed for not having taken mandatory training, that you find out if there is an issue and perhaps make a decision that that issue is a valid point, that they not be removed from our neighborhood council board. I do think it unfair. Anyway, so if you would bring that back, I would appreciate it.
Thank you very much for that.
And congratulations, you survived 1 year with us.
And hopefully there's many more years to come. I also have just a slight few more updates. So the EBG work group, the EBG work group, my hybrid pilot program informational. They approved their list of potential candidates for the pilot program on October 20th. There's 14 initial participants and 7 backup participants. In regards to that information in your monthly profile, there's a link to the report the work group provided to the commissioners. There's also the informational document explaining the criteria for the pilot program. And there's also a document that was used in regards to data from the survey that Empower LA did regarding readiness for returning to in-person meetings. Next, I would like to let you all know there are 3 days this month that the department is closed. Those days are Friday, November 11th, and Thursday, November 24th, and Friday, November 25th. In regards to your elections are scheduled for June 18th, 2023. That is a Sunday. Your elections administrator, I believe her name is Lainey Balsuto. So if you have any questions in regards to elections as it pertains to the city clerk's office, that's who you will connect with. Her email is LANNE.BALSUTO@lacity.org. Again, that is LANNE.BALSUTO@lacity.org. As you all heard, there will be a special election come April 2023. Our department is working to make sure that we communicate the NC selections as it doesn't conflict with those special elections. Okay, we want to make sure that we have clear language in regards to the NC elections and make sure that it does not conflict with that special election, but we also want to utilize that as an opportunity to engage more folks and spread more awareness about the NC elections as it pertains to Lake Balboa. Last but not least, there are NC 101 sessions that our department has been scheduling and planning since spring. I haven't had the wonderful opportunity of working with Lake Balboa's outreach committee and or the elections committee, can be due to the fact that they're quarterly meetings. So if that isn't scheduled at that time, that plans goes back out. But I do want to say that the opportunity is also there for me to meet specifically with the chairs and a couple other folks if I can't meet with the committee as a whole. Okay, so I just want to make that known that I'll be reaching out in regards to the NC 101 sessions. And so if the entire committee cannot meet, have no fear. If there's 1 or 2 folks that can, I could still pass on that information, and that information can be given to the rest of the board through those folks.
Okay, I have a couple comments if you'll hold that thought for just a second.
Yeah.
It is now 7:17 and Jasmine Garcia is leaving the meeting. If the secretary would please make note of that.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye, Jasmine.
And then last
Okay.
but
No,
just
before that, Lenny is going to be attending our December meeting and talking about the election, just so that you're aware.
okay, thank you for that. And in response to that, the department should be working with the city clerk's office in regards to providing more information and updates. Just by chance, if it isn't, please schedule the department, well, I guess it's me, please schedule me in sync with that presentation to be able to answer any questions you all may have in regards to the department and the elections that are part of the elections, excuse me, in regards to outreach and things of that nature.
So way back, I think it was April of this year, we identified 2 locations that we would be using for the voting. And we are patiently waiting also for a meeting location in case you tell us that we can meet. They have to be ADA qualified. We've submitted that information and we have heard nothing. Just for your information, the school, Galt Street School, has been used in the past. So we're not really panicking, but there should be some official notice back to us that it is approved in case we can have a meeting.
Thank you for that update. I wrote that down and I'll do my best to give you an update in regards to where that status is.
Perfect, thank you. Linda Schwerin, you have a question?
Linda S., you're muted.
You're muted, Linda.
How about now?
Loud and clear.
Okay. I understand from Linda Gravani that Lanny is expected to be at our December board meeting, and we will be getting into details with regard to 2023 election. Correct?
Yes, in regard, and that is on the in terms of the city clerk.
Okay, and Daniel, I'm certainly hoping that you will be there also.
Yes, I will be there alongside the city clerk. It should be a partnership with that presentation, and I do believe a few other colleagues will be supporting me. Two specifically, Angie, who is the director, I believe, of outreach and engagement or awareness and engagement, and then my director, Anne Marie, who's the director of communications for the department.
Okay, great. As election chair of the ad hoc committee, I can tell you, looking forward to it.
Thank you. Are there any more questions or anything else anyone would like for me to take back to the department to follow up with you all on?
Well, I have a couple things on the agenda, so I'll leave it for that, but it is something that you can take back.
Okay, thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. And of course, as always, I'm here on mute in the background waiting to support.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that brings us up to item number 8, public comments. Please advise the neighborhood council if you are a registered lobbyist. Comments from the public on non-agenda items, issues, announcements, and complaints within the jurisdiction of Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council. The state of California Brown Act prevents the board from discussing your comments. You can also email your thoughts to Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council President, which is Linda G. at lakebalboanc.org. So this is comments from the public. It's not from the board. The board has an item number 9 for announcements. So public comment would only be from the public. And I've got Christy.
Hi, sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Hi, this is Christy Dare. I'm also the chair of the SONC, Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council Public Safety Committee. And we meet the second Tuesday of every month at 6:30 p.m. And I've always been a huge fan of the Lake Balboa EP committee meetings, and I attended many of Linda's and Sandy's over the years. And I was wondering if the neighborhood council would consider joint meetings just to keep the EP committee going. I don't know where it stands now, but I miss those meetings. But if you wanted to have joint meetings with the Public Safety Committee of Sherman Oaks, then I would love to help with that. So I just wanted to offer my services and maybe training a new chair or getting the word out. But again, I do meet monthly. It's the second Tuesday of every month at 6:30. We switch between speakers and just local neighborhood business. Most of my committee members are Neighborhood Watch, and I represent the emergency preparedness portion because of my CERT background. So that's it. I just wanted to see if you were interested in that. Please let me know.
Thank you so much. Glenn Bailey.
Glenn Bailey, this is somewhat related to comments that were made during the Daniel's report, and that has to do with the EVG hybrid work group, of which I am one of the few West Valley members of that group. And I just wanted to give you a little bit more detail with regards to the pilot program that was approved last night by the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners. The neighborhood councils from the South Valley, they're doing it by commissioner regions that were approved for the pilot program are Woodland Hills Warner Center Neighborhood Council and Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council, with the backup one being Reseda Neighborhood Council. For the North Valley, the one that's in the West Valley is Chatsworth. So that's just kind of know. So basically they will be, I guess they were never approached before the commission voted, which is unfortunate, but in any case, they'll be approached. And if they decide they're interested, then they will be part of a pilot program that will take anywhere from 6 months to a year, hopefully to work out the bugs of how neighborhood councils can meet both combining the in-person and the virtual together. There are some issues, and if you look at the resource documents that Daniel mentioned on the Empower website from the Bonk agenda, you'll see some of those, but that includes who's going to run the equipment, who's going to buy the equipment, who's going to pay for the purchase of the equipment, where is it going to be stored, security, etc. So just know that this is something that is not mandatory, but it may be something that will be forthcoming and may be of interest. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Lionel Myers.
Good evening.
Hi.
Members. Thank you so much for having me. Perfect timing. I just want to say general public comment that I did reach out to you via email. Just, as we all know, we don't have a representative. We have a caretaker, Sharon TSO. I can pronounce her last name, but she's a caretaker appointed by Mitchell Farrell. I just want to reach out to my neighbors within Council District 6 because the council has set up a special election for next year, and I've been hearing from other activists that they want to influence our council district. I'm an activist too. I don't want no outside interference, political interference from the city council, from lobbyists, from outsiders. This is our district, and we have to do community outreach. We need to speak up. We need to talk to our neighbors. We need to publicly engage and civic engagement. We demand better services. There has been a rise in catalytic converter theft. I've been hearing from my neighbors on next door talk about it, and I urge them to speak up. I encourage them, talk to your council members, speak up, talk to your neighbors. We gotta get action. I've been going to city council on my own, representing my neighborhood, and I wish the more people that speak up, the better. And I'm very passionate about this, and I want to thank Linda for her support, and I thank the Valley Alliance Neighborhood Council for getting us to talk, because we have to demand better from the city council, because the Valley, I believe parts of the Valley has been neglected, ostracized, and overlooked by the city council because they focus too much in LA, south of the Hollywood Hills, and we don't get as much attention. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Brian is next.
Hey, Neighborhood Council, appreciate your work. Two things. One, just want to see it later on in the agenda, voice my my acceptance. I'm not the opposite of disagreeing with something. I really do think talking about Gil Cedillo, Nuri Martinez, and that whole thing that happened, I really do like that you guys shaking a stand against that. I think neighborhood is behind you. Secondly, just keeping this going, the rat house on Wyandotte in Rubio. I mean, nothing ever happens. It's perpetual. So just another concerned citizen that's really tired of it. And new people have moved in, and I think it's a terrible way for them to be introduced to the neighborhood. That's all. Thank you all for your help.
Thank you. Timmy?
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Good evening to everyone. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name's Timmy. I represent SoCal SFV, that's short for Southern California San Fernando Valley. It's a community group that actually unites the entire valley from the east end to the west end to everything in between. And we have quite a number of Lake Balboa signatories that participate in this community group. I actually left a voicemail for you, Linda, for your council president earlier this evening about the topic I'm speaking on. And that topic is the irresponsible overgrowth of Van Nuys Airport. I mean, I'm sure you guys know the recent expansion of Van Nuys, or maybe you don't, because I highly doubt people really understand what has happened in the last couple of years and that resulted in the 2021 explosion of air traffic. But this expansion, which afforded billionaires lucrative contracts at the expense of the masses, was done without public notice, without public knowledge, or without our input. And it literally transformed what was a coveted general aviation airport into what is now an international commercial detriment. So it's completely out of balance with communities. And our communities, Lake Balboa has existed decades before these expansions. So while the Van Nuys operations impact everyone in the valley, Lake Balboa is without a doubt the most vulnerable community, because your health is being attacked on a daily basis. I'm sorry, what did someone say?
30 seconds.
Oh my God, no, that's not too long, because you guys, this is important to what's happening. There are 2 motions to make 2 more expansions at Van Nuys. And what I don't understand is why Van Nuys impact isn't on the agenda when your residents are so concerned over it and your health is directly impacted. You guys need to be heard on these 2 motions. Friday, LA City Council is hearing one.
Timmy, I'm sorry. We have a time limit on this, and I'm sorry. You can send me an email. I don't have it on here, but I will in just a second. I'm sorry, we have to cut you off, and it's a non-discussion item, so I can't discuss anything on it. Steve Leffert, you're next. Steve?
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, 2 things. Number one, since that article in the LA Times about Van Nuys Airport went on, I've noticed that there are fewer curfew violators, the jets taking off at 1 o'clock in the morning and so on. That was going on for quite a while. I thought there were supposed to be some fines for violating that curfew, but now I hear that it's just a suggestion that they not fly between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. So I'd like to work with actually Congress people about Van Nuys Airport in that respect. The other question is that they're in the middle of redrawing districts for city council lines. And I'm just wondering what the progress is about that. And if we could get somebody on next meeting, perhaps, to talk about how they're redrawing or if they're moving the boundaries for CD6, for example. We used to be split between 6 and 12, and they did correct that in 2010, I believe, to put it all into one district. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Sue?
Hi. Let me turn this off. Okay, is that better?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yes.
sorry about that. Hi, my name's Sue Steinberg, and I live in the Lake Balboa district right next to the airport called The Pocket. And yes, we were part of that LA Times article that did point out the fact that it has become the private playground for the rich and famous, and has certainly, it's been, I just want to pick up where Timmy left off, which is it has outgrown, it was not made, designed, built to be a commercial international airport, and that's what it's turned into. Went to a Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council meeting, and they did endorse those two motions I think Timmy was starting to talk about. The LA City Council, before Nuri left, did put two motions forward. One of them will be voted on this Friday at 10 a.m. at the LA City Council meeting. And it is about the overgrowth and the third-party commercial, charter jets. Well, they're not commercial, but they become commercial. I think Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council really needs to take the lead and have more of an input on these Van Nuys Airport issues. I mean, it's in our district. It's, right here in our backyard, literally. So if people can call in,
30 seconds.
I don't know if you can make a motion to show support for those two motions. Motion 22-1125 is the one that's going to be voted on this Friday in the LA City Council. And the one motion 22-1127 hasn't been scheduled yet. But it really is important that the Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council gets involved in this. I mean, this is our neighborhood, guys.
Time.
This is the airport that's killing us.
Time.
Thank you. Thank you. Michelle Middleton.
Thank you so much. I am a member of the community. I live right by the airport, and I don't know where I have been. I actually have been fighting a totally different fight for the last 2 years. But since I've been home and I work from home now, I hear the airport 24/7. And all of a sudden in my neighborhood, a sign went up saying, in this neighborhood, things cause cancer. And I went, what's that? I have no idea what that is, where it came from, or who put it up there. But then it all just kind of made sense. I am being poisoned. We are all being poisoned by this expansion of the noise has not stopped. I live right here. It's constant. There are helicopters that fly so low. I'm afraid. No, it's not an if, it's a when there's going to be an accident. When or what building it's going to go into, because it's going to go into one of our homes. And then it's going to be, then somebody will step up. So my suggestion to the board is, why don't we have a community town hall on this, so that we can bring some suggestions, or let's get some ideas. I think this is an issue that needs to definitely be addressed. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. Mike Lawler.
Okay, hi, sorry, it's actually Suzanne Gutierrez Hedges. I was under my acting account for teaching, so I apologize for that.
No problem.
Great, that's me, Suzanne Gutierrez Hedges. Real quick, Michelle, that was a lawsuit against Castle and Cook. And years ago, they were supposed to put up those signs regarding the health issues. And I guess they finally put it up, because as of January, when we toured the airport, it was not there. And also, so I too live in Lake Balboa, been here since 2003, and the exponential unchecked growth of the Van Nuys Airport is literally killing us. The motion that's up on Friday that's being voted upon is so important. Third-party websites are allowed to sell single tickets on a jet that say that go into Vegas. Now, because this is considered a general aviation airport and not a commercial airport, anybody, there's no TSA, anybody can get a ticket. I could buy a ticket online, drive up to the airport, bring on my purse and my luggage. In my purse, I could have a gun, and in my luggage, I could have a bomb. and there's no TSA, so there's no metal check. A friend of mine did this exact trip, and the only thing they measured was the weight of her bag. Nothing else was checked. So who's to say someone's not going to take one of those planes and fly it into Disneyland, SoFi Stadium, Dodger Stadium, okay? The amount of spew of the VOCs coming from these jets are killing us. We have asked for an air quality study for years through AQMD, through
30 seconds.
and we get the runaround. But yet $2 billion, according to the economic impact study, that's just a bunch of BS. We need Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council to help stand up for us, to do something, work together to come up with solutions to this detrimental problem that's killing the people of Lake Balboa. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve Thomason.
Hi, folks. I don't live in the area. I live in Northridge, and I'm over the over the Van Nuys Airport. I've been in my house for 30 years, and honestly, I can't tell you, I don't really hear the planes. My body is used to it. I don't think about it. And I have no problem with this airport. I think it's a great airport. Why would we want to throw away this airport? It's been 100 years, and for people just worried about this airport. It employs thousands of people. It brings tons of revenue in for our valley. And I'm sorry, I'm for the airport. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, that is it for public comment. Thank you very much, and for understanding that we cannot comment on it. It's a Brown Act violation. Daniel Johnson, you have your hand raised.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. President. I just want to clarify about the EVG hybrid work groups pilot program. At Bonk last night, they approved the attached list of neighborhood councils to participate. And they also approved sending invitations on behalf of Bonk to those 21 NCs and approved inviting them to information sessions, excuse me. So they did not approve the program. They approved the invitations and the list and the information sessions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Number 9, announcements. James Brown.
I've got 3 quick announcements. First, on this coming Saturday, November 5th, West Valley LAPD will be present at Healthy Tea with a Cop event, located at Healthy Living Spot, 16045 Sherman Way, Unit A. You can meet your Lake Balboa Senior Lead Officer, Mike Terrazas, in person, as well as other senior lead officers at that event. The time is from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Then on next Thursday, November the 10th, we're holding our annual West Valley Division's Officer Appreciation Day, where the public is invited to come by, say thank you to the men and women in blue, as well as the office staff. These are people that on a 24/7 basis risk their lives for us. And this is an opportunity where we actually have the chance to meet them in person and to say thank you for your service. We'll be serving over 200 to 250 lunch and dinners at various times. The notification has been posted. And again, the public is welcome to appear. I'd like to send out a special thanks at this point in time to Linda Schwering, Ruth Doxey, Danica Middleton, and I think I heard from Gary Kay, who will also be there to volunteer to help serve food to the officers. So anyone else that'd like to show up, that would be great. The location is 19020 Van Nuys Street in Reseda. That's right there at Randall Simmons Park between Wilbur and Van Nuys. Parking is free. Last but not least, because I let the cat out of the bag, we will be, I should say, West Valley will be sponsoring through the LAFD a CERT event
that would not include.
That will be on Thursday, January the 12th. The time will be from 6 to 8 o'clock at night, and there will be for successive Thursdays with graduation at the end. And so there will be an official announcement on Eventbrite, but for those of you who would like to participate, because space is going to be limited, and if you sign up for it, you need to show up for it. So shoot me an email at jamesb@lakebalboanc.org www.lake.org. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda Schwerin.
Hi. All right. What I would like to do is advise that there is a plan for the ad hoc finance committee for the meeting to be held in November. I will be doing a special. Sorry about that. It just went. I will be doing a contact to our committee members within the next week or so that we can set up a meeting to identify rollover funds and a potential revision to the budget for 22-23.
Thank you. Ruth Doxey.
Yes, there hasn't been a meeting of the Wildlife Area Steering Committee recently, but I wanted to let you know that there's been increased vandalism. They had a major planting about 2 weeks ago, and then soon after, the majority of the plants were stolen, and they had trouble with culverts being blocked. Somebody's digging and blocking culverts. So I'm really happy that Officer Terrazas is with us now, and hopefully we'll get a little bit more coverage of the wildlife area. Thank you.
Brian, I see your hand is raised. Do you have an announcement?
Oh, I do not, sorry.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Linda, you have another?
Yes, I do. And I think that not only the Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council, but our area in general would be very happy to know, if they have not already noticed it, that in the AAA magazine Westways, this last issue, we have a Lake Balboa resident who has won photographic acknowledgement, and that person took a photograph in our wildlife refuge here in the Lake Balboa Basin. So just kudos to our local area and to our Sepulveda Basin and Lake Balboa.
Thank you. Jared, you have an announcement?
I do. I just wanted to quickly state so it is a matter of public record, that I did attend the Van Nuys Airport.
That's an item that we may discuss in the future, so you can't discuss it because it's not on the agenda.
When am I able to say it, since I can't do it in public comment?
We need to have the item on the agenda. This is the difficulty we're having with the social media and the new policies that we have. Anything that we might be able to discuss on an agenda, we have to hold for a Brown Act compliant meeting. And it's not on the agenda. I'm sorry.
And Jared, you can request it to be made an agenda item to an upcoming meeting. You can make a request. You can make a request of Linda. That'd be listed as an agenda item.
Thank you. I know it's frustrating.
Well, I think, given the circumstances surrounding the City Hall vote and motion on the 5th, that we kind of are.
I understand what you're saying. It's urgent that we voice our opinion. However, we have to post the agenda 72 hours beforehand. So anything that comes after that, I'm sorry, I can't put on the agenda. We have to wait. We can have a special meeting if you'd like to call a special meeting, but unfortunately, the board cannot discuss it tonight.
The Brown Act allows us to by 2/3 vote of the members here, vote to take on an emergency situation under 54-956.5. And I would suggest that we do that, given the situation for the November 5th meeting at City Hall.
I think that's City Hall's item. It's not in our bylaws. We don't have an emergency. We have a special meeting that I can call 24 hours beforehand, or a board member can call beforehand, but it's not something we can discuss tonight.
And certainly not under public comment.
I would go on the record in saying I disagree with that assessment.
Okay, Daniel, you got something you want to say about it?
At this moment, I would just need clarity, and I could follow up with the department tonight and see what their recommendation would be. But that
There's a council file, which is 221125, that's going to be discussed, I believe, on November 4. That is an issue that Jared wants to discuss. He was at a meeting and wants to make comment about it. But if indeed we call a special meeting, then you can't discuss it, Jared. You have to recuse yourself.
And to clarify, this is going to be discussed in 2 days.
At City Council, yes.
Okay. At this moment, of course, the presiding officer, which is the president of the board, her recommendation will stand. But Ms. President, I can also check in with my team and see if they have any recommendation, in case it can be a possible discussion tonight. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Absolutely.
Right, sorry about that. I know it's sometimes very difficult. Any others from the board members? Sharon Brewer?
I'm going to say is any board member can go and make public comment at any city council meeting or commission or committee meeting as an individual. So that's an option because of the kind of dilemma for today. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. Glenn Bailey?
Yeah, Glenn Bailey, just along those lines. This motion was the council file 221125 was introduced on September 28th. So that's been what, more than a month ago. But the thing is, it was waived out of the committee it was referred to. Normally, the public hearing is held in the city council committee. It was waived out of city council committee, which means normally on Friday, there would be no public hearing. But because it was waived out of committee, the city council is obligated to hold a public hearing. So any individual person, or if your neighbor council had filed a community impact, you could do so by, presenting your community impact statement on Friday. So that's all I wanted to say on that. Thanks.
Jim Stein, you had your hand raised. Did you change your
I
mind?
put my hand down.
Thank you. Okay, number 10, President's Update. Mulholland Middle School was vandalized a couple weeks back, and there was some issue as to whether there would be funds to return it to the state that it was prior to the vandalism. And I'm happy to say that LAUSD stepped up to the plate and fixed everything. It's back to where it should be, so I appreciate that. Number 2 is the dog park. I just wanted to mention to Jim Stein that Tillman delivers water, and I can't see why Tillman couldn't deliver water over to the dog park. So that's something I think we need to research. Daniel, this one is for Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. The Neighborhood Council discussed last month that we would like a land use consultant because we don't feel that we're qualified, and the training that's given by Dunn is really not what's needed. So I would like to officially request that the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment find land use consultants that we would be able to use if we had some questions. And the other thing that I'd like done to do for us is to, your general manager said you started to compile a list. I would like to have whatever is on the list of contacts for the city department, general managers, and heads of departments. When we were working with Jesse Owens Park, we're not dealing with all the players that are concerned, and it was impossible to find the actual email address for the person that was in charge of this particular project. It's nowhere on the website. So if you would take that back, I would certainly appreciate it. And number 5, the Zoom recordings removal. When the Zoom recordings are posted on the website, there's no need for us to continue to have it in storage on Zoom. So after the minutes have been approved, I'm going to remove it from that storage area because otherwise we're going to have to pay additional funds for it. It's still available on the website, but it will not be available on Zoom itself. Anyone have any questions on these? Daniel?
President, thank you for your acknowledgement. Just want to make sure I heard you loud and clear. The request is for the department to seek out land use consultant to utilize in regards to questions for land use items.
Correct. What I understand is that we need to interview people that have business licenses or certain qualifications, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I personally do not have time. I do believe that Department of Neighborhood Empowerment should find bona fide consultants, just as they do for the minute takers, just as you do for translations, etc. So I'm requesting Dunn to do that.
Thank you. Thank you for that extra detail in terms of translation and the others. And then the last but not least, the request for the list of contacts for GMs and head of departments.
Correct.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I noted that correctly.
Yeah, there needs to be a place for us. I went on the website and there was no way for me to find, I've forgotten her name. Kathy was her first name, but it's a hyphenated last name. So I didn't know if her last name, if it was hyphenated, if it was one name or the other name. And she was not listed on an org chart anywhere, and it made it extremely difficult.
Thank you very much. And I do have that update if you would like. I believe you stand corrected because it will be a future agenda item, Jared. It cannot be discussed tonight. Okay, just wanted to make sure you had that clarity in regards to what you're trying to achieve tonight.
Thank you. And you got that from whom?
Well, the team, I do believe my director, Tom Zoom, did share that. And then I have other NEAs that are pitching in and supporting me with providing information.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Gary Kay.
Thank you, Daniel.
You're muted, Gary.
Thank you. With regards to the Zoom recordings being removed, that's just from the Zoom's database. That's not from the website. Is that correct?
That is correct. There's when you record, you can record on your computer, whoever you are, or you can record to the cloud. When it's recorded in the cloud, we have X amount of space. So I just want to remove it from the cloud.
I understand. Is there any backup of these recordings though, once it's gone to the website?
No.
Okay. So then before we do remove them from Zoom and before we all agree to that, I think we need to investigate or get clarification as to the recordings that are on the YouTube channel, whether that Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council channel is owned, registered to the Neighborhood Council or to our webmaster. I could be wrong, but I'm of the belief that that belongs to the webmaster. And should there ever be a change of webmasters, all that information would go with whoever owns that. It's not posted on our website. It's posted on the YouTube channel that Aaron, our webmaster, set up.
And you would like it there forever? Is that your wish? Because the official.
It's not that I wouldn't want it there forever. It should be someplace where it's not going to go away and that we own it. And Aaron is a vendor, and if there ever is a parting of the ways, that content all goes with him potentially. I'm just trying to protect the content.
Well, the actual official record of the meeting is the minutes. It's not the recording. It's the actual minutes that we vote on. We don't vote on the recording. But we can discuss that in the future. Daniel, did you raise your hand again?
That was an accident.
Okay, Glenn Bailey.
Regarding Zoom, so Glenn Bailey, I may not totally understand what you're trying to do here, but I do know that the Zoom account that's been issued by the department, and again, this only applies to the Zoom account issued by the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. One of the benefits of it is it includes unlimited storage for the recordings of the meetings for as long as we have that account. Now, if you're using some other Zoom account, then obviously that benefit would not apply. But I guess what I'm saying, what I just want to share is that I'm aware of many neighborhood councils that just post the link to the recording of the Zoom recording for the meetings, and they're up for over 2 years now. There are some neighborhood councils that do record or transfer it to YouTube, and then they're up on YouTube. That would be independent. But I'm not aware of any storage limitation of any neighborhood council that is recording their meetings on Zoom using the department Zoom account. But maybe Daniel can clarify that. Thank you.
Well, Daniel, that's correct. But we have 2 Zoom accounts, and one Zoom account is reached maximum. So I'm trying to avoid spending additional funds if indeed it's not necessary. Somebody called S. Is that you, Stacy? S.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
Stacy.
That's bizarre. I don't know what happened. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know why it shows up as S here, but yes, it's me. So number one, I was going to suggest before Glenn just spoke, if it is a storage issue, I know that recently a hard drive was purchased for the treasurer, and I was going to suggest that perhaps a one-time expenditure of a large hard drive to store these videos in a proprietary way to the council might be something to consider. But based on what Glenn just said, wouldn't it make more sense to just switch and use the actual account that is provided that has unlimited storage?
There's when we started, this is really okay. When we first started, Department of Neighborhood Empowerment was not ready. And we had a meeting because we're at the beginning of the month. So we purchased our own account.
I remember that, yeah.
Okay, so our own account has a limit. Department of Neighborhood Empowerment only requires a 30-day recording, and then you can delete it. So
you can delete it, but it sounds like you don't have to. You can choose to keep it if it is unlimited storage.
But it's not unlimited storage on the one that we're talking about.
Right, but why couldn't you just switch to using the actual one that's now provided? I know preemptively, and I appreciate that the fact that you guys jumped ahead to try and get something in place so that we could all continue to participate and engage in this process. But it shouldn't be a big deal to actually switch over.
It is because of the Zoom account number.
That is the easiest thing to change on an agenda and on everything.
I do understand that, but trust me, we've had some issues in the past. Okay, 2 questions and then we're moving on. Danica and then Jared.
I think all this is kind of a moot point since our minutes, our approved minutes are what is needed for public record and not the recording. So I request that we move on for the meeting, please.
Jared?
He agrees.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, LA City Charter Section 909, Annual City Budget Priorities. Each neighborhood council may present to the mayor and council an annual list of priorities for the city budget. The mayor shall inform certified neighborhood councils of the deadline for submission so that the input may be considered in a timely fashion. Number 11, Budget Advocate, Region 3, updates. Glenn, do you have some updates for us?
I do have brief updates, and I apologize for missing your last meeting. I know it was rescheduled, I believe due to Yom Kippur, but then the next meeting was not able to attend. So I actually have 2 months of updates, but it's quite similar. And it's possible that Carol gave an update also at that meeting. So, so the budget advocates have completed their series of trainings. Our last session was earlier this, was last month. And there are 2 parts. One is with the CAO, and I think I mentioned this a couple of months ago. The CAO representative, which is the city administrative officer, talks about the city's budgeting process, the revenue sources, and they also talk about the expenditure side from the departments. That was split over 2 training sessions, August 29th and September 17th. And I'm sorry, no, it was October 3rd. Those are 2 hours each. They are recorded, and because neighborhood councils are responsible for advising the city on the delivery of city services and the city's budget on your own in cooperation with other neighborhood councils. The neighborhood council budget advocates are also try to organize that role, but you certainly can do it on your own. But just as informed neighborhood council members being aware of the budgeting process, I strongly urge anyone interested to view those professional presentations by the CAO's office. They are on our website, www.budgetadvocates.org. Up at the top, there's various tabs. Click on the training tabs, drop down, and you'll see the training tab of the CAO on those 2 dates. In addition to that, we also did in-house trainings in preparation for our meetings with these various city departments. We're going to meet with most, but not all of the 40+ city departments. But a part of that is going over what you need to know, what to look for from past year budget requests to the reports that the budget advocates have done on the various departments, and there's other preparation techniques. Those were also recorded, and those are also posted on the website and may be of interest as well. For those department meetings, they have started. They will continue for the next several weeks, if not month. Most of them will get done then, I expect. There'll be a few lingering ones. Those department meetings will get information from the department. We will be able to ask questions, the folks who make decisions, the general managers, assistant general managers, the CFO, and get a sense of both their recommendations, our questions, and then the committees will prepare a report of those meetings, which will include some recommendations that are then compiled together in our annual white paper. So that process will be ongoing for at least the next month, and very likely for the next, into January. But it's happening now. So if you, some meetings have already been held. If you had any interest in a particular department, let the budget advocates know. And if we're having a meeting and we've got space, we'd love to have you. If not, you can also express your comments, questions, suggestions, ideas, which we really appreciate. That can be incorporated in the report for the departments. Lastly, I just want to conclude with that we have officially approved setting the date for our next annual budget day. It will be on Saturday, June 17th, 2023. It's too early for us to know whether it will be virtual once again, or in person, or hybrid. But we do have the date, and we would ask if you would save the date. And it's usually in the morning, like from 9 to 1 p.m. or thereabouts. It's open to all neighborhood council board members as well as stakeholders. So appreciate if you keep that date available. And with that, I'll conclude. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I highly recommend that anyone that has just a small interest in what the city is doing is to look at the white papers from the past. You can see an awful lot of information and get quite a good knowledge of various departments. When you look at it, you go, oh my God, there's 110 pages. But really, the first 10 pages give you a synopsis, and then the rest of the white paper are specific departments. So if you're looking at the police department, or if you're looking at fire department, or if you're looking at Rec and Park, or you're looking at Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, you can see what they've asked for, what their difficulties are, and it's really quite a wealth of knowledge. Number 12, discussion and possible action regarding Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council's open board seats. We currently have 2 organizational seats and 1 residential seat. We did just recently get an application for a residential seat, but it was too late for us to do anything with, so it'll be next month. But organizational seats are open to stakeholders 18 years of age or older who participate in a community-based organization, including but not limited to a religious institution, educational institution, nonprofit organization, neighborhood association, school, parent group, faith-based group, senior group, youth group, arts association, service organizations, boys or girls club, cultural groups, or environmental group within the neighborhood council boundaries. And the residential is a residential stakeholder shall be any person whose primary residence or living space is located within the council's boundaries, whether in a home, apartment, condominium, or other accommodations. So we are definitely looking for board members. We have 3 openings. Daniel Johnson.
Thank you, Ms. President. I just wanted to acknowledge that if a board member is removed due to not completing the code of conduct in time, that they are able to complete that training and they are able to be reappointed by the board. I just wanted to make sure that was clear and understood.
Okay, and how do they do that training if they don't have a computer?
Still with you on that.
Okay, Daniel, and you can call me Linda. And Gary?
Yeah, just trying to get clarification. I don't know if this is directed to you, Linda, or to Daniel, but the most recent profile that Dan sent out had different terminology this time. It says that basically it says that Lydia has been removed, whereas before it said suspended. So is this another board seat that is open, or is there some issue that she is still a board member? Just trying to get clarification if we actually have 4 seats open or 3 seats.
Daniel, can you speak to that?
In regards to suspension and the removal of suspension, allows an individual board member or any board member for that case to complete that training within that suspended amount of time. It means that they're unable to participate in NC activities until those trainings are up to date. Also means they're not removed once that is completed. However, if they lack the opportunity to complete it in the suspension time frame, they are removed from the board, meaning they are no longer on the board, to which they will have to be reappointed once they completed those trainings. I also do see that the individual that Gary mentioned is not listed on the Empower LA website, meaning the rosters that I can see, that we all can see on empowerla.org. So it does look like there's 3 vacant seats and not 4. And for clarity, Gary, you mentioned 4 vacant seats and not 3.
So the
It's-
question is Lydia on the board, or has she been officially removed and that seat can be filled by someone else?
For the monthly profile, it does list removed. And again,
Okay.
I don't see her name on the empowerla.org website.
Okay, so I want you to definitely find out what happens when someone does not have a computer and cannot take the mandatory training. Because as I mentioned, there was a neighborhood council who had, she said, more than half her board does not have computers. So how do they do their training?
Thank you.
I know you're not finding out right now, so that's okay. So we may have two, we have definitely 2 organizationals. We have 1 residential, and we may have a senior seat available. Danica, do you have something to add?
Yes, I would just like clarification because I was going to help my mom. She's got my computer tomorrow so she can do the training, but if she's removed from the board, I don't want her to spend time to do the training. And I would like it to go on record that it's my fault why she didn't, because I've been slamming busy and using my computer, so she was not able to use my computer to do the training.
So therein is the question, what happens when someone doesn't have a computer? And there are many people that do not have computers. How can we remove somebody from the board who is duly appointed because they don't have a computer? And no one asked, actually, if she had a computer. Daniel?
Yes, thank you, Linda, for calling me again. I do want to clarify, Danica, that it isn't anything punitive. I do believe Linda is asking a wonderful and great question that I could follow up with the department for. And then I also wanted to note that as long as, whether it's me or whoever's supporting to get that completed, that she is able to be reappointed. So I don't want you to think like, I don't want us to feel like, oh, well, there's nothing we could do or anything like that. There is still opportunity.
Thank you, Daniel.
Daniel?
I'm so sorry. I got a new laptop, so if my hand keep going up and down without me actually doing it, please forgive me.
Okay, were you completed?
Yeah, yes, I was. Thank you.
Okay. Mary, you had your hand raised. Did you want to still speak?
I did. I just wanted to say in regards to computers, one idea would be the use of the public library. There are computers there. I know not everyone may be able to make it to the public library, but even if there was transportation for them, that would be an idea.
Thank you. Thank you. There was also extenuating circumstances where her husband passed away, which created another issue. Glenn, do you have something else you'd like to add? Because we'd like to move on.
Understood. Just be aware that some of the libraries offer a to-go pack where you can check out a Chromebook computer with a hotspot, and you get to keep it for, I don't know how many weeks, but an extended period of time, certainly long enough to take the training. So you don't need, you can get it and then take it home, do it at your own convenience.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on. Number 13, discussion and possible action regarding appointing a land use chair. In light of not having someone who is really well versed in land use issues, such as Miguel and Tom Riley, I think we'll not appoint a land use chair at this moment unless somebody has a burning desire to be in charge. I know Jared expressed an interest in land use, but I don't know, do you feel that you would like to handle a committee and handle committee meetings? I think
maybe in a month or 2.
Okay.
I mean, I'm very interested. I'm very interested. Don't get me wrong, but I think maybe, in a month or two.
Yeah, there really is a lot to it, and that's why I think we need a consultant, because it's not just, do we want to do this or we want to do that? It's really, really difficult, as you were hearing with the airport folks. But anyway, I guess we'll have to cancel the next land use meeting as well. And if there is anything that comes up, then we'll have to discuss it at the full board meeting. Daniel?
Yeah, so I wanted to just, thank you for calling on me. I wanted to name some complexity around not having that committee. So as you may know, the Planning and Land Use Committee solely are the ones that are supposed to do the training in order to discuss those items so that when it's took to the full board, that the discussion can happen, right? However, if that committee is inactive, then that means the entire board then has to have the Planning and Land Use Committee training completed in order for the board to discuss those actions. So I hear Jared, excuse me, might want a little bit more prep, but if it's anything that is calling on you to make that decision a little sooner, it would be helpful. And I am here to guide you.
I did the training.
Okay.
And it is quite limited. Linda's correct. I will say the training on the site it's helpful, but it is limiting, or limited, I should say. So, I am very drawn to land use. It's an area I'm very, very passionate about for our community and for my neighbors, especially who come to me frequently with their questions and comments about this. What I will say is that I think anyone, on the committee would, benefit from, more than just the limited training that is provided on the site. So I'm absolutely interested. I think it would require, a more in-depth, training than simply what was provided there.
I'm thinking if you took a leap of faith, you chair this committee, I reach out to you after this meeting, we schedule a meeting together, and I could pick your brain and get some questions on what support is needed. And I have a more thorough information to provide the department in lieu of looking for a consultant.
I don't think we're going to appoint a land use chair tonight. I think.
Okay. Well, I'll still reach out to Jared.
It would be wise of us.
Feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk more about it and to see and to volunteer my ideas about what more training might be necessary and what more resources might be necessary. And I think Linda's probably got some ideas about that as well.
Okay.
But it's certainly something we should talk about. And I think having a consultant on board is probably something we probably all think is a wise idea.
Perfect. We're going to move on. Glenn, I'm sorry. We're just going to move on. Number 14, discussion of possible action regarding Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council June 18, 2023 election. Linda Schwerin, do you have anything you would like to add?
Yes, I do. Since it's potential that we will have someone from the Department of at our December Lake Balboa NC meeting, then my idea would be that we would review after the meeting and the complete discussion in order to do a separate election committee meeting and proceed from that particular point.
So you have nothing that you'd like to discuss tonight?
Nothing in addition.
Okay.
The fact that I look forward to elaboration and continuing at a meeting.
Thank you. Okay, number 15, discussion and possible action regarding Sepulveda Basin Wildlife Area. Ruth Doxey.
Hi, sorry, I made my comments during number 9. Sorry.
Okay. Number 16, discussion and possible action regarding future website ideas. Michael Cortez, you want to brief everyone?
Good evening, fellow council members.
Hi.
Hi. It's been a great evening so far. Just wanted to share with you on September 20th, the outreach committee met, and in the meeting we had some items that we went over as to some potential, social media content that we can provide. As you know, social media is the best way to get a hold of our stakeholders, as of course in person as well too. But really what I've seen most recently, especially on Instagram and Facebook, has been a great way to engage our fellow stakeholders, and the pandemic really showed that that's the way to do it. So some things that we had recommended in our outreach committee is board member profiles. It's so important for the rest of the community to know who you are and what your interests are and why you're serving on the neighborhood council. So that's something that I would like to do and work with all of the council members and getting their profiles publicized on social media, but also live on the website at one point with more about them. Meeting and committee invitations, I urge you to please work with me. Sometimes I need that nudge in order to give me the information about your committee meetings or and the language that you want to add to your social media posts, because that will help ensure that your information is getting out there to the public when you do meet. City, state, federal resources, it's really important. So if you know of anything, please let me know so that we can post that and share that with the community as it comes in. LBNC event postings is something that we really want to do and publicize it. For example, like the mini park event that's coming up in December, as well as Danica's working on the parade. So like all these types of events we want to post, and we also want to have a time frame of how you want them posted, any photos or anything. So working with me on getting that information out there, again, drawing people to our social media pages, to our website, so that they're continuously viewing. I've noticed that most of our profile hits come from photos. People love photos. They love seeing your faces. They love seeing community stuff, which leads me to community photos. And then finally, videos by board members. If any of you want to create like 15-second videos or 10, like even it's like welcome, inviting you to the neighbor council meeting, or going out to Jesse Owens mini park and saying, look at the construction. All of that is a way, again, to engage the community and share your stories on our social media pages. But again, I can't do it by myself. I would love to work with you as well to get it. I'm willing to take the lead on it. This is just a quick example I gave of a board member profile example. Again, it's very personal, but I got some really good input from Stacy at the outreach committee, is really make it more focused on, why are you interested in serving on the Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council? I went into further about my own little, where I work at and what I love about Lake Balboa, but again, we can more focus it out. But again, it's just something like what we can do on social media pages. So these are just something ideas if you're interested in me and working with me, and something that we should be focused on and doing more of. Yeah, I'd love to hear from all of you. That's it.
That's great. Linda Schwerin?
I think that what Michael just said is absolutely imperative and important for our Lake Balboa community. We all need to do something particular, even if it's small. And what he just mentioned at this point is absolutely wonderful. Kudos.
Yeah, I also think it's a great idea, and we don't think about it. I mean, if you're on your way to some kind of meeting and you see all kinds of activity at Daniel Pearl, for example, that would be a good thing. Michael, stop working and post this video or something. Maybe not quite that, but on the weekends when we go out and about, I do think it's great. Look what's happening in our community. Or look, I just happened upon, a new restaurant or something. I don't know even if we can do that, if we can promote something on social media like that, because now we're showing favoritism towards one retail establishment than another. But You know, maybe you see a bluebird in your backyard or something that might be of interest to somebody who's bird watching over at the wildlife area.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And real quickly, Jen Stein gave me like some photos, historical photos, and gave me a quick blurb, and I posted it on the web, on social media, and people loved it. It gained so much attention. So again, it's those type of things that really draw people.
So maybe Jared, you can go out when they're painting the lines and you can say, hey, we're finally getting our lines.
Yeah.
Stacy. Stacy.
That's funny because it's kind of sort of what I was just going to bring up. Like anytime somebody sees city services happening in their area, that would be a great thing to capture and post, like showing that we actually are having things done and trees are getting planted and trees are getting trimmed. A lot of tree activity in our area lately. As for the schools, though, regardless of whether it's favoritism or not, you can't post pictures of kids without parental approval anyway. So
yeah. No, I just meant the building itself as and you know, tents or whatever, because they have Comic-Con, or they used to. So that would be a fun thing. But
I can post video of the fireworks that Birmingham shoots off over my across the street neighbor's house.
Yeah, perfect. Anyway, that's a great idea. And so let's help Michael help us get people to know who we are. We had quite a few people before. We still have 28, which is really great. 16 attendees and 12 of us. But the passion was because of the airport. And yeah, that's good. But there's so many other things that we work on during the year, and we need to let people know that we're here, and we need your help, community, so that we can get something done. Because you're irritated about something doesn't necessarily mean we know about it, because we're all living our lives as well. So that's a good thing to do. So thank you very much. We appreciate it, Michael. Number 17, discussion and possible action regarding Council File 22-1233, special election for vacant council district seat 6. And I'm going to talk about the next one at the same time. Number 18, discussion and possible action regarding Council File 22-1234, special election for vacant council district seat 6. And it's really kind of the same. 1233 is appoint an individual to fill the office for the remainder of the term for Nuri Martinez, who resigned. That's kind of there has been somebody that's been elected or selected as a caretaker, but the caretaker cannot vote. And we discussed this at the special meeting. So the second item on the motion is to call a special election to elect an individual to fill the office for the remainder of the term. And so the motion actually was, I therefore move that the council instruct the city clerk with the assistance of the chief legislative assistant to report in 120 days on the steps that would need to be taken and the associated costs related to calling a special election for the office of council member 6th district due to the recent vacancy to the seat. Then Council File 22-1234 is very similar, and it's to ensure that the residents of Council District 6 are represented on the council. The city should hold a special election in order to fill this vacancy. I therefore move that the council instruct the city clerk in consultation with the city attorney to report on recommendations for calling a special election to fill the vacancy in the office of council member for Council District 6. So these two council files resulted in the city clerk sending a report. And the report was forwarded to city council. And city council, when they read the report, they made an amendment to both of these council files. And the motion was done October 25 of 2022. And it was by Paul Krikorian and Bob Blumenfield. And they stated, I hereby move regarding item 29 on today's council agenda, which are council file numbers 22-1233, 22-1234, relative to the options available to the Los Angeles City Council to fill the vacancy in the office of member of the City Council's 6th District by special election, that council adopt recommendations 1, 2, 5, and 6 of the city clerk report dated October 2022. And item 1 was request the city attorney to draft and submit a special election ordinance that calls and orders a special election to be held on April 4 of 2023 and a special runoff election to be held, if necessary, on June 27, 2023 to fill the vacancy in the office of the member of City Council 6th District. Number 2 is adopt a special election ordinance to be prepared and submitted by the city attorney that calls and orders a special election to be held on April 4, 2023, and a special runoff election to be held, if necessary, on June 27, 2023, to fill the vacancy in the office of the member of City Council District 6. And number 5 is authorize the city clerk in conjunction with the CAO and the controller to make any technical corrections or clarifications to the above fund transfer instruction in order to effectuate the intent of that action. Number 6, authorize the city clerk to negotiate and execute any agreements as appropriate as may be needed relative to the office of the members of the City Council 6th District special election, subject to the approval of the city attorney as to form and legality. Then they referred recommendations 3 and 4 to the city clerk report dated October 2022 to the Budget and Finance Committee. And that was to appropriate $3.9 million from a funding source to be identified from fiscal year 2022-23 to the city clerk fund number 100/14 as follows for the April 4, 2023 special primary election: $100,000 to account 1070, $10,000 to account 1090, $3.79 million to account 4170. And number 4 is appropriate $3.75 million from a funding source to be identified by the city administrative officer from fiscal year 2023-24 to the city clerk fund number 100/14 as follows: the June 27-23 special runoff election. So basically what they're saying is that Council District 6 has no voice. Whatever council files are voted on at City Council, CD6 has no voice. We can't vote on anything. Community impact statements that we forward to City Council, there is no vote taken by CD6, period. So I move that Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council approve, I move that Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council support Council File 22-1233 as amended.
Second.
Okay, Gravani made the motion. James Brown seconded. Discussion. Sharon Brewer, you have your hand raised.
Yes, it's basically that today in City Council, there's a new council file 23-1200 or 1300. That was number 18 that is about the special election for CD6.
Right.
So that got approved and stuff like that. So I don't know if that impacts your other two, but they did go in, actually have, and they have those dates of
June 23rd.
April and June or April, whatever they are. Thank you.
Thank you. I do realize that there are other things happening, but I do think that it's necessary that our neighborhood council voice an opinion on this council file. As you can see, they're rushing council files through. We neighborhood councils have asked for at least 60 days to 90 days before anything actually goes through the system. This is really a hot item, and it really needs to be voted on at city council quickly. But I do think we should voice our own opinions on this. Jared?
Just because there's so many of the council files for this one, can you just paraphrase the one that we're actually voting on? I'm so sorry.
Well, what it is that
because this is the amended one, right? I'm so sorry.
Right. Well, it's the council file that we're approving, and it was amended by, well, the report that I read came from the city clerk saying, yes, we can have a special election. The special election will be on whatever dates I just said did, and then there would be a runoff. And then there was an amendment to this motion saying that these three things we approve of. So technically, we're okaying a special election on this item 1233 as amended.
Got it. Which they've already basically said they're doing.
Yes.
Got it. Without consulting us.
Of course. And even
Right,
if
okay.
they could consult us, there's nobody voting for us.
Right. And just to be clear, the city council, if I recall correctly, can appoint somebody who is a voting member, which is a possibility. They've just chosen not to.
We, I believe, would prefer to vote for somebody because they could vote for, they could assign somebody whoever they wish.
Right.
And we won an election.
Right.
Sharon Brewer, did you raise your hand again? Don't be shy. James Brown.
Yes, I just wanted to also chime in to remind folks that on the council file management system is a system that allows individuals, since the neighborhood council can't do it, it allows individuals to speak up on these various council files and to let your feelings and be known directly to the city council in that regard. So I encourage people to do that. We did it once before, about a year or so ago, you might remember. That caused a number of people to actually traverse the distance down to City Hall and make feelings be known, and we actually outnumbered the antis at the time. So if it was done once, it can be done again, but people have to raise their hand and not just sit idly by and wait for things to happen.
Okay, we've got a motion on the floor that we need to discuss. Let's take a vote.
All board members, please unmute yourself. James Brown.
Yes.
Michael Cortez.
Yes.
Ruth Doxey.
Yes.
Jasmine's no longer in the meeting. Linda Gravani.
Yes.
Lydia Gerasimovich is not here. Gary Kay.
Yes.
Danica Gerasimovich is a yes. Jared Negron.
Yes.
Alan Nelson's not here. Carol Newman.
Yes.
Linda Schwering.
Yes.
Jim Stein.
Yes.
10 yeses, motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, so Council File 22-1234 basically says, due to the resignation of Council Member Nuri Martinez, the constituents of Council District 6 are now left without a voting member. I therefore move that the council instruct city clerk to, in consultation with the city attorney, to report on recommendations for calling a special election to fill the vacancy in the office of council member in Council District 6. So everything that we talked about before is exactly the same because it entails both of these council files. So I move that Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council support Council File 22-1234 as amended.
Second.
Ravani made the motion, James Brown seconded. Discussion. Let's take a vote.
James Brown,
Yes.
Michael Cortez,
Yes.
Ruth Doxey,
Yes.
Linda Gravani,
Yes.
Gary Kay,
Yes.
Danica Middleton is a yes, Jared Negron,
Yes.
Carol Newman,
Yes.
Linda Schwering,
Yes.
and Jim Stein.
Yes.
10 yeses, 0 nos, motion passes.
Thank you very much. I know that was complicated, but and James Brown is right. We should all voice our own personal opinions. And if you have no idea how to do that, please let me know. I will walk you through it. It's really very easy, and there is no reason why everyone shouldn't voice your own personal opinion. Okay, so that takes care of 17 and 18. So we're on 19. Discussion of possible action regarding Council File 22-1197, which is to convene a new ad hoc committee on city governance reform. So the motion talks about the conversation between former Council President Nuri Martinez, Council Member Kevin De Leon, and Council Member Gil Cedillo that we all know about. And that the people of Los Angeles are right to be skeptical, suspicious, and distrustful of the city government. And to move forward, the city council must respond to this crisis by seriously engaging with the proposals for the reform of our city government that have long been circulating, but which the council has yet to take deliberative action to pursue. Among these are the possibility of expanding the number of city council members, removing city council members' direct discretionary power over land use decisions in their district, reforming city rules concerning lobbyists as proposed by the City Ethics Commission, Council File 22-0560, and establish a truly independent redistricting commission as called for in Council File 21-1472. And the motion is for City Council. I therefore move that City Council convene a new ad hoc committee on city governance reform, which will be charged with implementing reforms to increase transparency, limit corruption, and make city leadership more representative of our communities, with the aim of restoring the faith of the people of Los Angeles in their city government. Nithya Raman was the one that made the motion. I can't read the signature of the person that seconded, but it was seconded. So they have mentioned they wanted the Ethics Commission, Council File, and independent redistricting. And they wanted a report back. Let's see. There is, it gets again a little confusing, and I apologize. They mention Council File 21-1472, which is quite a long council file. But basically it says, I therefore move that the City Council instruct the Chief Legislative Analyst with assistance from the City Attorney and other city departments as needed to report within 90 days with options for a ballot measure for the November 2022 ballot to amend the city charter to create an independent redistricting commission for the city of Los Angeles. The report should include, among other topics, the following, and it's got analysis of the redistricting commission, best practices for the selection of redistricting commissioners, qualifications for commissioners, conflict of interest that would preclude participation in the redistricting, potential prohibitions on commissioners, best practices for the size, structure, and makeup of the commission, best practice for the criteria that should guide the commission's map drawing process, best practices for a fair numbering process for newly drawn districts, best practices for the removal and replacement of commissioners, best practices for the insulation of the redistricting commission from city elected officials and staff, best practices to ensure transparency and public participation, an adequate and mandatory budget, best practices for commissioner compensation, legal remedies for challenging of adopted maps, and any other consideration to ensure the commission fairly and adequately represents the residents of the city of Los Angeles in the redistricting process. So that's Council File 21-1472. Then they also mention Council File 22-1196. And basically this is, I therefore move that the City Council instruct the Chief Legislative Analyst with the assistance of the City Attorney to report on the steps needed to place a charter reform ballot initiative before the voters of Los Angeles in 2024. And then they've got 22-0560, which we discussed previously. I therefore move that the City Council request the City Attorney in coordination with the Ethics Commission to prepare and present a draft ordinance to adopt the reforms regarding the city's lobbying laws found in Council File 22-0560 with the following modifications further the strengths of the law, which is eliminate the expansion of exemptions beyond what exists in current law, prohibit lobbying entities from fundraising, require lobbyists to disclose they are lobbyists, clarify that a proposed or pending matter of municipal legislation includes matters without a council file, require lobbying records to be maintained for at least 5 years, and change the Ethics Commission statute of limitations for 5 years. So this is all rolled into a report that came from the city attorney. And the city attorney has a report that I forwarded to the board previously, but basically it says the purpose of this letter is to strongly recommend that the council immediately prepare a spring 2023 charter reform ballot measure to create independently drawn council district boundaries in time for the 2024 city election cycle and call a special election for spring 2023. In addition, I propose a spring 2024 charter reform ballot measure to create a new independent city redistricting system for future city elections, along with other reforms, including cutting city council districts in half to facilitate more responsive and diverse representation. I know that's an awful lot, but they all kind of move together. So the very first one, again, was the possibility of expanding the number of city council members, removing city council members' direct discretionary power over land use decisions in their districts, reforming city rules concerning lobbyists, which was the 22-0560, and establishing an independent redistricting commission, which is Council File 21-1472. I therefore move that the City Council convene a new ad hoc committee on city governance reform, which will be charged with implementing reforms and increasing transparency, limit corruption, and make city leadership more representative of our communities, with the aim of restoring the faith of the people of Los Angeles in their city government. I move that Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council support Council File 22-1197.
Second.
Gravani made the motion. James Brown seconded. Discussion.
Yes. This whole exercise and the council files, Linda, that you graciously read to us, is an exercise that was long in coming. Several years ago, when they first put forth this redistricting process and asked for participation from the community, there was limited response. And so as a result, these certain things that have happened to the entire city since that point in time has come to rear its ugly head. And so now we're faced with a scenario where we are asked to second a motion that calls on redistricting process being revamped, being redone by an independent commission, and certain processes put in place to increase accountability, such as an instance which has recently happened to us doesn't happen again. So I wholeheartedly second this motion, and there you have it. That's my 2 cents.
Since the city attorney identified these other council file numbers, I don't know if you want me to read everything that the city attorney recommended, because it is his recommendation that would be taken into account. I did provide this to the board members. Danica?
Yes, I think it might have been Council File 1196. I'm not sure. But so if the city council person does not have a strong opinion on land use in our communities, who then will be controlling our opinions and making those decisions? The planning department at the city? I don't like that.
I think they threw that in for the simple reason that that's where the payola comes from. We have a couple council members who are in hot water with the FBI because they've taken funds, however they got them, under the table, over the table, through somebody else, or however. I'm not sure, but projects have been approved in the council districts that probably should not have been. I don't know how, I agree with you, Danica. I don't know how you control that. It has to come through the district, whether we want it or not. And I will say that Nuri didn't let anything go through without first saying, have you been to the neighborhood council? So she did take that into consideration. But bottom line is I agree with you. Then who? Then who's in charge of it? Jared? You want to be chair?
I'm looking, no, not about this. I'm concerned about, we're talking about this is encompassing the redistricting?
This one council file, it all blended together because the city attorney added these council files. They're separate council files, but he mentions them in his report. And that's why I kind of threw it all together to link it together, but they're separate council files. So this particular one is to expand the number of city council members and remove the city council's direct discretionary power over land use decisions, and reforming city rules concerning lobbyists, and establishing an independent redistricting commission. So we can like some of it and we cannot like some of it.
Okay, because I think my concern with the way that the phrasing of the independent redistricting commission stands as they have it written so far, at least in what was sent out, is that the commission is still appointed.
Yes.
But it's not clear as to who is doing the appointing and who is being appointed. It's always phrased as, you know, people with expertise or people who have, you know, judgment or sound judgment. Well, that could be anybody who still has a conflict of interest, or anybody who's still, you know, could be, you know, doing it for the wrong reasons. And I think that still puts us right back in the spot where we were before. And I think that's the problem I'm having is the phrasing of this independent redistricting commission sounds all lovely and good, but it's still being phrased in a position that leaves me a little skeptical.
How so?
Well, it's this idea of appointing another who is doing the appointing of this commission, and where are we finding these people? It's not really clear.
Well, I'm going to raise my hand. I'm not for this particular council file myself. I would oppose it again because
You made the motion.
I made the motion so we can discuss it. I don't necessarily have to agree with it. If I said I oppose this, then we get into this confusion of, oh, am I saying yes to this or no to that? So I made the motion that we approve it, and we're going to discuss it. But my personal feeling is the Ethics Commission did nothing wrong. It's the city council people that did stuff that was wrong.
Right.
I don't believe that the expansion of the number of city council members is going to change anything with the commission. It's the city council members that are at fault. So I personally am not in agreement with this council file. Linda Schwerin, and then Danica, you had your hand raised and you dropped it.
I lowered my hand, thank you.
Okay, Ruth Doxey, and then Steve Leffert.
As far as the redistricting, the commission, it sounded like Mike Foyer thought we should just use LA County's redistricting commission that's already in place from that letter. That's what I just wanted to add, that he proposes using the one that LA County already has.
Steve Leffert.
Yeah, about all of this with land use and that, you know, if a city council person brings something forward saying, yes, they want this thing approved, all the other councilmen just jump on and say, sure, we'll do that. Expect that when they bring something, the rest of the council people are going to support it. And that's part of the problem, that, you know, the old boys club, as it used to be, because it was all men, you know, I'll support yours if you support mine. And it didn't matter where it's coming from or who's putting money in whose pocket. You know, as some of our city council people have found out, that the FBI does like to look into things. So I don't know that any of this, other than a stronger ethics commission, making sure that whatever goes on is ethical, because it seems like there's a lot of stuff that isn't, that gets by them. And I just wonder who appoints the ethics commission? Where does it end?
And that's why Council File 22-0560, which is the as proposed by the City Ethics Commission, the lobbyists. So that's why I brought that back on. Glenn Bailey, you have your hand raised, and then Danica.
Yes, thank you. Glenn Bailey speaking as an individual. So the council file dealing with the redistricting, independent redistricting one, I just wanted to make sure that, because I didn't hear this mentioned, there were 2 amending motions made in city council the day that they considered this motion. And I don't have them memorized, sorry about that. One of them, though, was to ask for a report from the Pat Brown Institute for a report back in 60 days in dealing with several issues. So that's 60 days. Oh, and by the way, they're being paid $50,000, I believe, to do that. So I guess that 60 days starts, I don't know, when they get the money, or I don't know, maybe it's already started. But just be aware that that is part of the process. And they may come back with recommendations that, I mean, who knows what they may come back with. But that is something that neighborhood councils can impact on during that process. There was a second amendment on that as well, but since I have limited time, I just want to say that the existing system, and I was one of those who attended the redistricting commission meetings, not only this cycle, but 10 years ago. And the what was going on in the valley, including Lake Balboa, Encino, the Midwest, the West Valley, Sepulveda Basin, for Nuri Martinez to remove her appointee at the last meeting of the redistricting commission because she didn't like what the citizens commission was recommending as it impacted on her district, and then removed that commissioner and put a new one in the very last meeting after all the months and months and months. This was October. The commission started meeting the prior December. All of that public input was lost on that commissioner. I doubt they had time to go back and listen to 10 months of public input and so many hours of meetings. That is wrong. And that, if nothing else, and she wasn't the only one who did that, by the way. There were other council members who similarly removed and put in new people. So I definitely think that's a huge flaw. It's not an independent citizens redistricting commission when the city council members can do that.
Right.
Thank you.
So the one council file that discusses the redistricting in depth is 21-1472. So that one might be you said that they amended one of these, but you don't know which one, Glenn?
I don't have the numbers memorized. It was the one that was done October, let's see, they postponed it, they didn't have quorum, like October 21st, something like that. But you'll see in the council file, you'll see two amending motions. And you'll see the wording of those amendments that was put forward to the main motion. So basically you've got the original motion made, and then you've got the two amending motions. All three of those together is what city council approved a couple weeks ago. But because it's a report back, it's not a done deal. It's going to come back.
Right.
So we have time to weigh in on it. Thank you.
Okay, so if we take off the two council files that they discuss in this particular council file, which is 22-0560, which is the Ethics Commission, and Independent Redistricting Commission, which is 21-1472. What stands is expanding city council members and removing city council's direct discretionary power over land use. So let's take a vote.
Okay, James Brown.
Abstain.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Abstain.
Okay. Michael Cortez.
Abstain.
Ruth Doxey.
I don't quite understand what we're voting on, so I'm going to vote abstain also. Because you made a motion and then you just said you're taking this out, so I don't see how you can do that.
No. No.
Can you restate the motion for us?
Okay, I support I move that Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council support 22-1197. And what I basically just now said, it refers to two other council files that we will be discussing and voting on separately. So it's a reference in here. It's not on this particular council file, it's a reference to City Ethics Commission 22-0560 and Council File 21-1472, which we will vote on. So if you don't even discuss that at this particular moment, the two things that stand are, one is removing city council members' direct discretionary power over land use, and two is to expand the number of city council members.
Got it.
That's
Everybody got it?
Abstain.
I still don't understand. I still don't understand exactly what we're voting on. I don't think it's clear on the record. Yeah,
Okay, so do you support Council File 22-1197? And I'll read it again so that it's really clear.
Do you want me to screen share any of these?
She
could
emailed
see
them
them?
all to us.
I know, but other people that are at the meeting might.
Yeah, you can screen share. It says to move forward, the city council must respond to the crisis by seriously engaging with proposals for the reform of our city government that have long been circulating, but which the council has yet to deliberative action to pursue. Among those are the possibility of expanding the number of city council members, removing city council members' direct discretionary power over land use decisions in their districts, reforming city rules concerning lobbyists as proposed by the Ethics Commission, Council File 22-0560, and establishing a truly independent redistricting commission as called for in Council File 21-1472. I therefore move that the City Council convene a new ad hoc committee on city governance reform, which will be charged with implementing reforms to increase transparency, limit corruption, and make city leadership more responsive, more representative to our committees, with the aim of restoring the faith of the people of Los Angeles in their city government.
So we're voting on Council File 22-1197.
That is correct.
And the unfortunate thing about, it sounds like the unfortunate thing about this particular file is that it's lumping in
other files,
whether or not you agree with them or not.
Well, I got that. I've got that now.
I'd like to note that there is a motion on the floor and roll call vote has taken place already.
Okay, so I have James Brown abstain, Michael Cortez abstain, Ruth Doxey abstain, Linda Gravani,
No.
Gary Kay,
Abstain.
Danica Middleton is a no, Jared Negron,
Abstain.
Carol Newman.
no.
I'm sorry, was that it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Gotcha. It's Linda Schwerin,
To clarify, is this for Council File 1197 only?
Correct.
No.
Jim Stein,
Oh,
was that a no, Jim? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
yes, it's a no.
Okay. 0 yeses, 5 nos, and 5 abstains. Motion does not pass.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, Council File 21-1472. That's the 3 pages of a motion about best practices for the commission. It says here, I therefore move that the City Council instruct the Chief Legislative Analyst with assistance from the City Attorney and other city departments as needed to report within 90 days with options for a ballot measure for the November 22 ballot, to amend the city charter to create an independent redistricting commission for the City of Los Angeles. And then it has the report should include the various items. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 items that should be included with best practices for the commission. So I move that Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council support Council File 21-1472. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Glenn Bailey?
I just wanted to confirm this is the council file that I was referencing, the 2 amendments that were
Thank you.
made in city council. Okay, thanks.
Any other discussion? This, I believe, is the council file that will help keep the city council members on the straight and narrow path because it requires certain things. It mentions that city council shall have nothing to do with it, basically. Conflicts of interest that would preclude participation in the redistricting commission, including the prohibition of individuals who have worked for within a minimum time frame prior to an application. I mean, it's got strict requirements for the commission as well as the city council needs to keep their hands off.
Ruth, can you go to the first page? That's the first page. Thank you. So are these going to be more city officials, employees that our tax-paying dollars have to pay for?
Of course.
What they're basically saying is that these are the rules and regulations. It's not saying anything about I don't think it says anything about the pay, but the city attorney letter that I brought forward on the items 18 and 19 also applies to this because he mentioned these council files.
Right.
So he says the purpose of this letter is to strongly recommend that the council immediately prepare a spring 2023 charter reform ballot measure to create independently drawn council district boundaries in time for the 2024 city election cycle and call a special election for spring 2023. In addition, I propose a spring 2024 charter reform ballot measure to create a new independent city redistricting system for future city elections, along with other reforms, including cutting city council districts in half to facilitate more responsive and diverse representation.
Okay, got it.
And then it goes on to the structure and process of the Los Angeles City Council. Process of the Los Angeles County Citizens Redistricting Commission is already codified in the state election code. See California Election Code sections 211530-211535. The commission is comprised of 14 members appointed from a pool of qualified applicants without the influence of elected officials. State law requires that members represent the diversity of the area and possesses experience relevant to redistricting and voting rights. Recent elected officials and candidates, political consultants, and lobbyists are not eligible to be on the commission. Because the city charter currently does not allow the city to engage an independent redistricting commission, such as the county commission, to draw council district lines, a simple charter amendment is required to make this happen.
Okay.
So that was from the city councils, the city attorney report. Jared?
And so another point of clarification, I'm sorry if I'm stepping on toes here, but it does look correct that on the 18th, it was amended. There were 2 amendments introduced that were then adopted by city council on the 19th. First amendment here, it looks like instructing the chief legislative analyst with assistance from the city attorney and other city departments as needed. I can share my screen if you like, by the way, to show this.
What's the council file, Jared? I think we went over that.
It's
this
the
one.
It's the same council file.
These are the amendments.
It's 24A is the amendment. Are you able to see my screen in just a second? Hang on, I'll just share this.
Yes, we can see it.
As needed to report within 90 days with options for the ballot special measure. And then the second amendment here would be 24B. And this was authorizing the Pat Brown Institute in an amount not to exceed $50,000.
So what it looks
for
like
that
to
report.
me is that they are asking for reports regarding what's on here. And then that report back would change. Whenever there's a change to the council file, whatever community impact statement you may have forwarded is void technically, because when there's a change, now you need to vote on the new change. So when the report comes back, we'll find out what the report stated. Just like now, we're working on what the city attorney stated. Do we like what he stated? Yes or no, and we'll vote on it. So they're going to be reports back.
You have a motion on the floor?
Yes.
Yes.
I made it and you seconded.
I know. Can we call for the vote?
Sure. I was just trying to explain about the amendments.
I think we got it.
James Brown,
Yes.
Michael Cortez,
Yes.
Ruth Doxey,
Abstain.
Linda Gravani,
Yes.
Gary Kay,
Abstain.
Danica Middleton is abstaining, Jared Negron,
Abstain.
Carol Newman,
Yes.
Linda Schwerin,
Abstain.
and Jim Stein.
Yes.
5 yeses, 0 nos, 5 abstains.
Thank you.
So if it's a 5-5, does it pass or no?
5-5,
passes.
the motion does not pass due to the abstentions, and you don't have a majority vote tonight. You will need 6 for it to carry.
Right. That's what I thought. Okay. Motion does not pass.
Okay, so Council File 2211-1196. This is, I therefore move that the City Council instruct the Chief Legislative Analyst with the assistance of the City Attorney to report on the steps needed to place a charter reform ballot initiative before the voters of Los Angeles in 2024 with recommendations that ensure representation is fixed to population growth in order to increase the number of Los Angeles council seats. I further move that the City Council instruct the Chief Legislative Analyst with the assistance of the City Administrative Office to prepare a report that outlines and sets forth an immediate redistricting process to implement the updated reforms after passage of the above charter reform ballot initiative. I move that Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council support Council File 221196.
Jared seconds.
Thank you, Jared. Discussion?
Can somebody please screen share this one?
So basically what they're saying is 15 council members are not enough for the people of Los Angeles. They say almost 100 years ago, The board had, which was developed in 1923, voted on in 24, and enacted in 25. At the time, the charter reform was focused on tackling corruption, ensuring efficient government, and improvement representatives. And at that time, there were just over 3.89 million people. So between 1920 and 29, the city's population grew from an approximate 577,000 residents to just over 1.2 million. And today we have what, about 4 million?
Right.
So I think it's difficult to get anything approved if you have more council members.
But yes, that may well be true, but that was the problem in the past, that what we're faced with now, because there were council members who decided that they were going to carve out and disenfranchise certain groups of people in order to make their districts filled with people who were supporting anything that they put forth.
Yeah,
So,
but they were dishonest.
They were dishonest, but nonetheless, they did point out a lesson that by having more diversity in terms of adequately and fairly redistricting the council districts, it would reduce the chances of us repeating this step in history.
Carol Newman and then Jim Stein.
I think the effect of this would be essentially to weaken the city council, which I think is something we should support. And in other words, each city council person right now has a district that is as large as the city of Buffalo, from what I understand. And yet we are supposed to be one city. So I think that it would help to dilute the power of the city council. So I support this.
Sharon Brewer and then Glenn Bailey.
Oh, I was waiting. I figured the board would go. Just remember, guys, that the city council, their salary was voted on and is connected with the judges. So even if they have less population, they're still going to be making over $200,000. So that's going to impact the budget too, because the voters decided to approve that. So, I don't know if it's a good thing, but it's going to be a very expensive change. Thank you.
Glenn Bailey.
Could you call me after this is resolved? I have something
Sure.
I think.
Steve Leppert.
Yeah, the budget is one of the things I thought of immediately when you talked about doubling the number of city council people. And voters
Did it say double, Steve? It didn't say double.
No, this one doesn't say double. I know it was one of the others that said cut every district in half, which implicates they're looking at doubling. But while that would, increase costs for more council people, no matter how many it is, the number of staff within each council district could be lowered because they're working with fewer people. So it'll cost more, but not substantially more than it does currently. That's my thoughts on the cost figure. And a lot of voters look at, well, we've got too much money being spent on government, and they'll vote against it. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Thank you. Jim Stein.
Yes, I can't worry about the money issue, although the last statement is very true. It's the staff that eats the money, and the staff represents the number of people in that district. I think anything that creates better representation is better for those being represented.
Absolutely.
Okay, James, please. Jared and then Michael.
My only point on this is going to be that I don't know if it's helpful, but it looks like every city council member has voted yes on this one, as it's been moved through the track. So it seems to be they don't mind weakening their power at the moment, given all this public scrutiny on them. And this file has received a large number of public input. If you look at the LA City Clerk Connect site, as well as a lot of neighborhood council community impact statement support. So it appears that there's a lot of public support on the side of this one.
Michael?
I was just going to say I agree with some of the comments made by my colleagues, but when I look at this motion, it's really more a report back and not a final decision on if they should do a charter reform or not. So I think there's such more research and information that needs to be done. So yeah.
Glenn, are you available?
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt the flow of this because it actually has to do with the previous vote. But I will say the motion as it's currently worded, as I interpreted it, and obviously it can change during the process, is they would add additional council members as the city's population grows, which, you know, given the last 10 years, it hasn't hardly grew at all. It certainly has grown since 1925 when, you know, the council was set at 15. But it would be a very slow process based on how it was originally worded, based on population increase to you know, get that additional councilman, a very slow increase. That's my reading of it. Thanks. As it's currently worded.
Let's take a vote.
Okay, James Brown,
Yes.
Michael Cortez,
Yes.
Ruth Doxey,
Yes.
Linda Gravani,
No.
Gary Kay,
Yes.
Danica Middleton, I abstain. Jared Negron,
Yes.
Carol Newman,
Yes.
Linda Schwerin. Linda Schwerin,
You're muted, Linda Schwerin.
Excuse me, abstain.
Jim Stein,
Yes.
7 yeses, 1 no, 2 abstentions, motion passes.
Thank you. And last but not least,
Linda, my apologies. Can I comment on the vote?
well, we
Declaration?
really need to move on.
This is a correction from your bylaws, referencing your
Okay.
bylaws. So not this last motion, but the motion before that, as I understand it, you had 5 yes votes and you had 5 abstentions.
Right.
That's what's showing in the transcript. So I just wanted, and then you asked it to pass. So I just want to bring your attention to your bylaws, Article 5, Section 3, that say as official actions, a simple majority vote by the board members present and voting, not including abstentions, at a meeting at which a quorum shall be required to take official action unless specified otherwise in these bylaws. So your bylaws are one of the neighbor councils where you exclude abstentions in your tally.
So then it passes.
So then it passes.
No, because there's 10 people here and 5 say yes. That's not a majority. That's only half.
We've got a quorum. We've got 10 people and 10 people voted.
And I would like to add on to the clarity that as I noticed this myself, I did reach out to the department. So I was correct. I provided the information I received after validating it.
No, say that again, Daniel.
Excuse me. I was saying to add on to the clarification, the information I provided as that motion not being passed, I did double check with the department before I announced that myself. I caught it, I double checked, and so that vote still stands as a no. It will need a majority of 6 people to pass.
But not according to our bylaws.
No, according to your bylaws, you will need the 6. although those abstentions are counted as I guess it's not as it is stated in your bylaws, because again, I double checked. So let me work this out. Let me work this out.
No, you're wrong. I'm
I
sorry.
did. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
For the
that's
clarification.
that's the problem with saying not including abstentions, but you guys can work that out. I just want to bring it to your attention. Other neighborhood councils do have to deal with this, so just FYI.
Ms.
Okay.
President,
We'll just move on right now. We'll
Okay.
clarify it a little later because we have other things to do here. So we're now at Council File 22-0560. This is about the lobbyists. The recent disclosure of the backroom conversations between former Council President Martinez, Council Member De Leon and Cedillo, and former Los Angeles County Federation of Labor President Ron Herrera has deepened a lack of public trust in city officials, brought into sharp focus.
Linda Swearing, you need to mute yourself.
It's just the same old crap.
I therefore move that the City Council request City Attorney in coordination with the Ethics Commission to prepare a draft ordinance to adopt the reforms regarding the city lobby laws found in Council File number 22-0560 with the following modifications to further strengthen the law: eliminate the expansion of exemptions beyond what exists in current law, prohibit lobbying entities from fundraising for and delivering contributions to city candidates and officers, require lobbyists to disclose that they are lobbyists and name their client whenever they communicate with city personnel, whether verbally or in writing, clarification that a proposed or pending matter of municipal legislation includes matters without a council file or official reports that are newly raised by lobbying entities or their clients, require lobbying records to be maintained for at least 5 years, and change the Ethics Commission statute of limitations for 5 years. I move that Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council support 22-0560.
Second.
Linda Gravani made the motion. Carol Newman seconded. Discussion. Daniel, do you have something to say on this particular item?
Forgive me, new laptop.
Okay, thank you.
Let's vote.
All right.
Okay, James Brown,
Abstain.
Michael Cortez,
Yes.
Ruth Doxey,
Yes.
Linda Gravani,
Yes.
Gary Kay,
Abstain.
Danica Middleton is abstaining, Jared Negron,
Yes.
Carol Newman,
Yes.
Linda Schwerin,
Abstain.
Jim Stein,
Yes.
6 yeses, 0 nos, 4 abstentions, motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I know that was an ordeal. I apologize. Number 20, discussion of possible action regarding Nuri Martinez, Kevin De Leon, Gil Cedillo, conflict of interest. I move that Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council forward our request that the Ethics Commission, the Los Angeles City Council, the City Attorney, the California Attorney General, and whichever other entities have authority to investigate the conduct surrounding the conflict of interest of Nuri Martinez, Kevin De Leon, Gil Cedillo, and prosecute to the full extent of the law.
Jared seconds.
Thank you. Linda Gravani made the motion. Jared seconded. Discussion. Let's take a vote. Oh, we got Danica.
Okay, I just want to go on the record to say, first off, I do not agree with anything they said. However, I do think that if they are investigated, whoever released the recording and recorded them without their knowledge in a closed meeting should be investigated and brought up for charges also.
Carol Newman.
My only question is, has there been any, this talks about prosecute. To me, prosecute means criminally prosecute.
Right.
I'm not aware there's been any discussion, suggestion that there's been criminal violations here. There's certainly a conflict of interest, bad behavior. You know, they shouldn't be on the city council. I mean, I don't want us to look naive that we're saying they should be prosecuted. I don't think there's a criminal violation there. So I would vote no.
Yeah, me too.
Jared?
I would suggest we could probably remove the prosecute at the end of the motion, but also to answer Danica's question about the recording, they've announced that they are, the LAPD is opening up an investigation. I believe it's LAPD is opening up an investigation into the recording. So that point is now moved. So we don't have to worry about that.
Thanks, Jared.
You're welcome.
Do we want to amend the motion?
I think we can amend the motion to just delete the last prosecute to the full extent of the law.
Okay, Jared made the change. Gravani will second.
Let's read it.
It's on your agenda. I move that Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council forward our request at the Ethics Commission, the LA City Council, the California Attorney General, and whichever other entities have authority to investigate the conduct surrounding the conflict of interest of Nuri Martinez, Kevin De Leon, Gil Cedillo.
Then this will be item 20A, correct, Linda?
Correct.
So we're voting on 20A.
Right.
Any further discussion? Let's vote.
James Brown,
Yes.
Michael Cortez,
Yes.
Ruth Doxey,
Yes.
Linda Gravani,
Yes.
Gary Kay,
Yes.
Danica Middleton is a yes, Jared Negron,
Yes.
Carol Newman,
Yes.
Linda Schwering,
Yes.
and Jim Stein.
Tom Riley, huh?
Sorry.
Oh, yes.
I just missed Tom. 10 yeses, 0 no's, motion passes.
Okay, 21, budget discussion and possible action regarding October 2022 MER. We do not have it. Is that correct, Linda Schwering?
Yes, Linda.
That is correct. The MER was not available as of this time.
Okay, thank you. Number 22 is tabled. And I've got a typo. Number 23, funding discussion of possible action regarding the expenditure of up to $300 for Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council board member polo shirts. We have several new board members that do not have the official Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council polo shirts that we need to purchase just in case we ever do something in public again.
Motion.
Just in case we get some members.
Well, we have some. So I move that Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council spend up to $300 for Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council board member polo shirts.
Second.
Ruth seconded. Doxy.
Gravani made the motion. Ruth Doxy seconded. Any discussion? Let's take a vote.
James Brown,
Yes.
Michael Cortez,
Yes.
Ruth Doxy,
Yes.
Jasmine Garcia's left the meeting. Linda Gravani,
Yes.
Gary Kay,
Yes.
Danica Middleton is a yes. Jared Negron,
Yes.
Carol Newman,
Yes.
Linda Schwering,
Yes.
Jim Stein,
Yes.
10 yeses, 0 nos, motion passes.
Thank you. Number 24, discussion and possible action regarding the expenditure of up to $150 for Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council Board Member business cards. We have a couple new members and we need some business cards for them. So I move that Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council spend up to $150 for board member business cards.
Second.
Gravani made the motion, Ruth Doxey seconded. Discussion. Let's take a vote, please.
James Brown,
Yes.
Michael Cortez,
Yes.
Ruth Doxey,
Yes.
Linda Gravani,
Yes.
Gary Kay,
Yes.
Danica Middleton is a yes. Jared Negron,
Yes.
Carol Newman,
Yes.
Linda Schwering,
Yes.
Jim Stein,
Yes.
10 yeses, 0 nos, motion passes.
Thank you very much. Number 25, discussion and possible action regarding an expenditure of up to $400 for Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council retreat. We have new board members. We've lost chairs. I think we should all get together and try to figure out what the future is going to bring, where we need to go, what committees we actually need, what's going to happen to the EP bins, for example, the elections and all of that stuff. So I don't know just yet when it might be, perhaps January when we don't have an official meeting, but we do have to allow for maybe 3 to 4 hours to get together to hash things out. So I move that Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council spend up to $400 for a Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council retreat.
Second.
Gravani made the motion. Linda Schwering seconded. Discussion. Gary.
What is the $400 for specifically? Are you suggesting an in-person meeting of some sort?
An in-person meeting like at Lulu's, like we've had in the past.
Okay, with all due respect, how would we be able to do that? It's open to stakeholders, and if we're not allowed to meet in public at this time in person, how can we have a retreat, and how would they approve funding for that?
I don't know yet when it's going to be. I'm thinking January, and hopefully we'll be able to meet in person. I do know that Granada Hills South had a town hall meeting, which they had all kinds of people attending in public, and it was not an issue. Glenn Bailey.
Glenn Bailey. So it's obviously a moving target. Governor's order said said he would not renew it after February 28th. So right now at this moment, it looks like neighborhood councils, if nothing else changes, will be able to meet in person starting March 1st. Granada Hills South Town Hall was in a high school gymnasium. Masks were required. Proof of vaccination was required. And keep in mind, this was the end of September, so the rules may have changed. I'm not aware of any neighborhood council meeting that's allowed. Both board, committee, retreats are considered, board as well. So, what Granada Hills South did was considered an event, and they did have to abide by the rules of they had to implement city rules, even though the facility was an LAUSD facility. The city has determined that if you use any facility, public or private, that you have to bring the city rules with them. But anyway, good luck with this. But just know that they had to deal with the city clerk's funding program as well as the city attorney in order to do what they did. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope we get back to normal soon. Michael?
So thanks. Just to clarify, even though it's being called a retreat, it would be a public meeting since most of the board members would be getting together.
It has to be what we have done
Okay.
in the past is we met at Lulu's and we had food that was pre-ordered. And we had the public join in. Actually, Glenn was there and Sharon was there one of the previous times. Linda Schwerin.
Oh, am I unmuted? Yes. Okay. So a retreat would be something as an operational expense for the Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council. And it would be with respect to what was required to our particular neighborhood council and those items that were in emphasis for transpiring what we needed to do in the next fiscal year and currently. So it would be something that would be, I'm sorry, I'm trying to say the word, but I can't get it out. It would be something that would be approved as operational by the neighborhood council at a neighborhood council board meeting for a future event, potentially in January. That's all.
Thank you. Gary?
I completely understand the need for a retreat, but don't see why we can't just do it virtually and save the $400, and why we can't abide by the current protocols of not meeting in public in person, especially in a small confined space.
Thank you. Okay, let's take a vote.
What exactly is the motion?
That I move that Lake Balboa spend up to $400 for a Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council retreat.
Does it require that the retreat be in person if we vote yes?
It was intended to be in person.
But does
That
it
was
require it? Does it require?
no.
We're just allocating the funds for a retreat.
How could it not be in person?
Let's vote.
Let's vote.
Steve Leffert has his hand up, Linda.
Oh, Steve, sorry.
Just, you're not specifying when, so it could be any time in the fiscal year up through June. So the money can just be set aside, and when things change, you can do it.
Thank you.
Okay, James Brown,
Yes.
Michael Cortez,
Yes.
Ruth Doxey,
Yes.
Linda Gravani,
Yes.
Gary Kay,
No.
Danica Middleton is a yes, Jared Negron,
Abstain.
Carol Newman,
Yes.
Linda Schwerin,
Yes.
Jim Stein,
Yes.
8 yeses, 1 no, 1 abstention, motion passes.
Thank you. Number 26. Thank you for Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council board members and Neighborhood Watch block captains for all that you do behind the scenes. Really is greatly appreciated, and we certainly wouldn't let the city know how we feel if we don't get together and hash it out. So I really appreciate it. It was quite an arduous meeting with all the council files and everything. I apologize for that, but at least our voices can be heard if indeed it gets to city council. Thank you very much. And it is now 9:50. I apologize for that also. Meeting is adjourned.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night, all.
you.
Thank you.
Buenas noches.
Hey, Linda, quick, just wanted
Hold
to
on,
quick.
let me just stop the recording.